All right, everybody, welcome to our fourth live webinar in 2025. It's our fourth ever. In the 7 years we've been doing this podcast, we have not ever been able to interact with you live. And this is a very exciting thing that I am just going to turn this down here over there. There we go. So this is our fourth. We do these monthly, and we have had such a great response to this from our audience that it is just so much fun. We're going to keep doing it. So today is no exception. We have three amazing sessions for you. I want to first thank the company that's making this all possible because this does cost money for us to put this on, and we're so excited to be able to do that for you. So I'm going to ask you for a favor from our sponsor. They didn't ask for this, but I'm going to ask on their behalf. So A&N Mortgage is our sponsor today. They were unable to attend, but that's okay because they're going to be reaching out to each one of you to ask, you to give them a shot when it comes to your next loan or your next buy-side deal. They are amazing. They're here locally in Chicago, but they work pretty much all over the country. So if you're not in the local Chicago area, don't worry. They are absolutely one of the very best lenders I've ever worked with. They just get stuff done. They get things closed. They're independent, so they can shop your rates around, and they're just amazing, nice people. So A&N Mortgage, we will have them reach out to you after this presentation. They'll send you an email, maybe even give you a call. And all I ask is that on your next transaction, let them be your backup offer. If you already have a lender that you work with, great. Well, let them be your backup just in case. And if you don't have one, if you don't have a good relationship, or you want to see what else is out there, give them a shot. They are awesome, and they're making this all happen for free. So in our first one we did have to charge for it, and people showed up, but we don't have to do that with great sponsors like A&N. So thank you, A&N Mortgage. We are huge fans, and we will send you guys more information about A&N after the webinar. We will also be sending you the videos. So I will get that out to you probably in the next week. So we will, if you have to leave at any time, don't worry. We'll be able to shoot you that content. And also, we're going to be making this into episodes for the podcast. So even if you miss that, you'll be able to watch it. And we're going to make them into video episodes and audio episodes. So you'll see them in our stream. If you're not currently a subscriber, really encourage you to pull up a podcast app, search for Keeping It Real. There's unfortunately a bunch of podcasts called Keeping It Real. One with Jillian Michaels, if you remember from I think she was The Biggest Loser in The Biggest Loser. So she's awesome. You can subscribe to hers, but also subscribe to mine. And that you'll look for the one that says DJ Paris. You'll find it pretty easily. We're pretty easy to find. And also our website's keepingitrealpodcast.com, keepingitrealpod.com. And you can also listen to every episode we've ever done there. We have over 600 and gosh, I don't know, 600 and maybe close to 50 episodes at this point. So we're really, really grateful to be able to have done this for you for 7 years. We're going to keep doing it. And it's just a lot of fun. And also, please tell a friend, tell them about our monthly webinar here, but also tell them to become a subscriber to our show. Really appreciate it. We've never spent really much or any, I don't think I've ever spent any money on advertising. So I just rely upon our listeners and our viewers to let other agents know this is why we do this. It's our little gift to you guys. And it's really a thank you from me for having this job in the industry where I get to do this. And I also want to thank my boss, Nick. He is the owner of our company, Kale Realty. I'm the president of sales and marketing over here. And he lets me do this, which is super generous because it doesn't help him that I do this, but it certainly is a nice way to give back to the industry. And if you're in the local Chicago area and you would like to just see what other firms are offering, I would always be honored to speak to you. You can actually learn more about us at joinkale.com. In fact, I'll encourage everybody to go there if you have a few minutes during the presentation today, not to try to pitch our services to you, but I just redid the website and I took months to build it and I'm super proud of it. I think it looks really cool. And again, I just would love some feedback. So I'm not a practicing agent, right? So I really rely upon people who are agents to take a look and just pretend that you were looking for a new brokerage and let me know if it's something that looks good, if it flows well. Again, I'm not here to pitch you to join us, but certainly would love your feedback on that website. I spent a lot of time on it and I think it looks pretty cool, but I don't know, I only know my taste. So check it out, joinkale.com. One other thing I'd like you to do, please feel free to use the chat. The chat should be available. Is it available? Zana can look into that. It is, I believe it's available. So you can put all of your questions in. We'll have Amy up in just a moment and also for our other panelists too. And if somebody can just, awesome. It is available. Zana just wrote. Zana's our producer, so please, if you want to ever give a thank you, don't give a thank you to me, give a thank you to her. She's been with the show for, I think, almost 6 years now, almost since the very beginning, and she's the reason we do all these episodes. She's the reason they get done. She is just so important to me and this podcast, and I couldn't do it without her. And she gets none of the praise that I get, unfortunately. So let's give her some thanks if you're a fan of what we do. And also, I have got a new segment that I'm working on for the show, and I think we're going to be able to figure out how to do it, where it's going to be called Bring Your Problems. So, what I'd like you to do, if you have just a moment, throw in the chat whatever your biggest current challenge in your real estate business. Could be everything from prospecting to, inventory, lending rates. What else could it be? It could be tariffs and the political climate. Maybe that's causing some fear around with your clients. Maybe it's negotiating. Maybe it's getting your offers accepted. Whatever you're currently experiencing, please let us know what that is. Throw it in the chat. I'm going to be reaching out to each one of you as a thank you for jumping on today, but all in the next week, and to ask you just personally, hey, tell me what's going on in your business. Where are you finding challenges? Because I want to create solutions for you. I can bring that to the podcast. We can do episodes around it, or I could just even give you answers right there over like the phone or a little webinar thing. So I'm excited to chat with each one of you, and we'll be doing that over the next week. So look out for that. All right, I think that's enough sort of information. Oh, we were going to be taking breaks at the 50-minute mark at here in about 40 minutes, as well as at let's see, it'll be 1:50 Central Time as well. So 12:50 Central Time, 1:50. We'll be taking 10-minute breaks so we can all refresh. So don't worry, but please don't be shy. Say hello in the chat, and let's make sure that, can somebody just write something in the chat? I just want to make sure that you can, because I know sometimes we've done this and people couldn't. Let me just go. There we go. All right, we can do the chat. Thank you, Dorothy. And all right, guys, let's get started. We have an amazing guest and a friend of mine, and I'm so honored to call her a friend because she is just an incredible businesswoman and somebody in this industry and in our local community here that is really very well respected, and I'm excited to have her on the show. And she's really, really busy, so we are excited to have her. We're so honored. So her name is Amy Duong Kim. She is the team lead at Duong Kim Global at Compass. And let me tell you more about her. She's a senior broker and the founding member, also an alumni of a University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign with a Bachelor of Science in Actuarial Science. Kind of interesting, right? Prior to a real estate career, she worked as an actuarial consultant. Amy's ability to adapt quickly to the real estate market has allowed her to take each opportunity as a learning moment, ultimately creating a stepping stone that really helped accelerate her career. She has been able to help many people find and sell their homes, and is also extremely proficient on the commercial side. She's a dual threat. Amy's achievements include accolades from the Chicago Association of Realtors, Chicago Agent Magazine, Jameson Sotheby's International Realty, and 5-star reviews on Yelp, LinkedIn, and Zillow. She has consistently ranked on Real Trends nationally and has been featured in Time Out Chicago, Chicago Tribune, Curbed, Yahoo, Wall Street Journal, ABC News, and even the Today Show on NBC. So without further ado, and well, by the way, we'll have Amy's social tags and handles in the show, in the webinar chat here. So please subscribe to her on Instagram. She's on TikTok. She's all over Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube as well. So anyway, we'll have that information in there. But welcome, Amy. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. And I have a funny story. So last time I was on your show, someone did reach out to me, and I legit like a year later, and she was an actuarial science major and she wanted to get into real estate. So we had like the loveliest conversation. She was asking me how to get into the business and everything like that. So I want to share that information.
That's awesome.
I also, if you have questions, reach out.
Yeah, I also want to mention too that Amy, we were just talking about this before we went live. Amy is also a mentor to 5 realtors, not realtors at her company, not realtors on her team, to 5 other realtors that she has chosen to mentor, or actually they chose her, but she made that available. This is just how generous and kind of a person she is. And fun fact, Amy and I were both at the Kentucky Derby, not together, but we met up. We had our fancy outfits on, and it was really fun to see her outside of our local Chicago community here. But she's awesome, and maybe I'll get to see her at the U.S. Open this year as well, because she's headed there too. So really fun to have you here, Amy, and glad to have you back on the show. Now, this is a tough market. I keep hearing that. We have 700 agents here at Kale. They're telling me it's tough. I talk to top producers. I just talked to one of the big top producers just the other day, ran into him at the gym, and I said, "How's it going?" Because he's always doing well. And he said, "It's the hardest spring I've ever had." He said, "I'm doing okay, but it's hard." So I imagine it's pretty tough for all of us. And just curious on kind of what you and your team are seeing right now. Like, what's a challenge for you, and then what are you doing to sort of address that?
So definitely low inventory is a huge challenge right now. Surprisingly, I am typically 50% sellers, 50% buyers. This year in particular, it's actually more sellers. So I'm grateful for that. And when preparing for this podcast, I actually really wanted to focus why. And I think the biggest thing that I had gone into prospecting was figuring out solutions for those sellers that I had. So that's finding their new house or next house, or figuring out how to change one of their investment properties into a different investment property. Because when you have lack of inventory, you have to find solutions on the back end first before you can get them as a listing. And I think that is the major piece that has made us get more listings this 2025 versus any other year, when typically historically we're exactly 50-50.
Are you having to persuade owners who aren't yet wanting to list that this is now the time, or are they coming to you, or is it a mix of both?
I would say it's a mix of both. I wouldn't say it's persuasion. I would say, here are some realistic questions that are outside of you just having a low interest rate and you feeling comfortable with the price that you own in your home. I think does the home still work for you? And you probably need an extra bedroom because you had another child, or your parents are moving in with you, so maybe you need a larger house for that, or your son is going to college, so maybe it's a good time to downsize. So I think it's conversations, and then that's how I find the solution. I think when you go in, every seller will be like, no, I'm good, houses are too crazy expensive, my interest rate is so low, I'm not going to get this back. But I think it's finding solutions to, if it's the house that they own is still the right fit. And if you approach it that way, it becomes, I'm not going to say it's still easy because you still have to find something for them, but I think it puts a bug in their ear, thinking like, okay, well, maybe we do need to it's just like looking at your stock portfolio. And I don't mean to bring this up at this current junction of the year, but typically, historically, you look at it at least once or twice a year, typically, now more than ever. But and then you adjust where you need to adjust. You don't just think that this is going to be your forever house anymore. So if you approach it that way, I think that's very helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We're basically talking about having conversations around life events
Yeah.
and sort of what people's needs are in the immediate term and then also the future. And then I think there's also an argument to be made, or at least a conversation to be had around, if you don't want to give up that 3% rate, of course, which nobody does, but if you'd be getting a home at a slightly lower price today because there aren't as many buyers flooding the market, there's an argument to be made for that, I think, and certainly if rates dropped, 100 basis points today, all of a sudden it would become way more competitive very quickly and prices would start skyrocketing. So I know prices are still high no matter what,
Mhm.
but it'll be interesting. Now, you're an ex-actuarial, you love data, you love looking at numbers. What's your sort of take on pricing? We know that in the last 5 years, prices, or sorry, values have gone up in most markets. So if you bought in the last 5 years, you're probably somewhat happy at the moment of what your current home value is. But where do you sort of see that going? I know nobody has a crystal ball, but what are you sort of seeing out there?
Yeah. So the single family house market historically since COVID has always done really, really well. And I don't see that to be changing anytime soon. I mean, the tariffs definitely throw a wrench in things in terms of affordability. I think it's too early to see how that's going to affect our lives, and how far it will go and how expensive things will get. But single family houses are super strong. The Gold Coast and River North are soft. Actually, I tell clients all the time, I think that if you're not finding what you want in other neighborhoods, to actually circle back to neighborhoods like Gold Coast and River North, because those are very soft prices compared to what it was before. So this could be a really great opportunity, because I do think it will come back at some point to what it was prior to COVID. Um, yeah, so uh, the here's the thing. It's very interesting that I don't know how far we want to go in this conversation. 'Cause I think about real estate all the time. I think Texas and Florida, if there's any Texans or Floridians out there, I'm not knocking your states. I'm just stating that due to like the current climate and lack of insurance situation, and I think the grass isn't always greener in these other states. I think people are coming back to Chicago. I think that uh, I think that our appreciation is still going to grow. We don't have that much new construction in the market. So I think no matter what, it's always a good time to buy, in my opinion, always a good time to buy real estate in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, suburbs included.
Yeah, and Florida is a great example of a state that's just been hit really hard
Yes.
with lots of inventory. It's a lot of it's insurance related,
Mhm.
and boy, yeah. So anyone in Florida, we know it's a trickier time for you right now. But yeah, there's opportunities elsewhere. Now, curious about what you're doing to find new buyers and sellers. So understand you already have a sphere of influence and you're hitting those people with communication. I'm sure you're reaching out. We'll talk about what you're doing with your existing sphere, but as far as adding to your sphere, what are some of the activities that you and your team do to keep that database growing?
Mhm. Well, it's funny. Like this is my 20th year being a realtor, and you can never assume, even when I was new versus 20 years later, and I suppose the track record that I have, I still do the same thing. I still reach out to clients. So I can never assume that my clients are going to be with me forever and without any nurturing. So that is very important. I you you do have to have a pipeline. I think that's very important for newer agents and agents that don't necessarily have a huge amount of production, is to realize that just because you talk to this person and meet them at an open house, they could be a buyer 2 years from now, not right now. So really, I mean, the number that I have in terms of how many people I speak to is very large, because I want to be working, I want my pipeline to always be full. But if prospecting is your least favorite thing to do, which is a lot of realtors' least favorite thing to do, I would actually start very, very small. And sometimes I don't want to call or text people too, but I make it a rule that I have to prospect at least one person a day. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but usually it then becomes leads to that I like prospect more. I just have to jumpstart it. If I say I'm going to call for 2 hours, I'm never going to do that because that sounds horrible. But
Yeah.
if I say, okay, I got to text this one person, I got to do it today, or else I'm not, or else like I didn't complete my tasks, it usually then kind of breaks that barrier of doing something that I don't really like to do. So that would be my, like, if you take anything away from this podcast, make a habit of reaching out to one person a day. So that, and then, if you want to grow it, you can grow it. If you want to keep it one person a day, you can do that too. But you still will have a good amount, like you would be doing it every day. That's great.
Yeah, and if there's
365 contacts a year.
Yeah. If you're only working 200 business days a year, it's still 200 people. And if you assume, even if I'm terrible at prospecting or I'm not so great at nurturing, even if I only get 2% or 4% of those people, in the next 12 months to list or buy a home with me, it's still decent numbers for a little bit of work every day. It's kind of like spending 10 minutes cleaning your home every day. It just like it can get maybe 10 minutes isn't enough for a lot of us, but I live in a small condo,
It's
so
like
I can
making
do
your
that.
bed. just think
Yeah.
about it like making your bed.
Yep.
It's an accomplishment, and then and you will, it may not be feel like it right away, but after a certain amount of time, then you can grow that to five, and then there's no exact number, and then you just don't realize you're prospecting.
Yeah, this is how I grew this podcast, which was just doing an episode after next episode after next episode. And I never had any particular goal. And I thought that was, it's important. I think goals can be tricky. I think
Hmm.
direction is better than goals. Like I know I'm heading this way and
Yeah,
whatever happens ends up happening. And
yeah,
yes, and I should be able to measure where I'm at. That's good. But I also don't want to be disappointed, right? So I just kind of want to go, I know if I keep doing push-ups, my arms are going to stay strong. Like I know that's just going to happen. So
yeah.
if I keep doing the workouts, if I keep doing episodes, if I keep prospecting, I have to do that for my business here. I have to keep prospecting, looking for agents to join us. And, it's not like one day 500 agents came over. It's never been that. I've been doing these 14 years. It's been one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. And then sometimes people leave and that happens too. So you have to replace those people. And, we're up to 700 now. And it's not because I'm super persuasive. It's just because I do the prospecting every day. So that's such a great tip is do those, make that. And if you need an accountability partner, get one. Get another agent who also needs to do that every day and just call each other once a day and say, okay, we're going to do it right now. And
Mhm.
then you can call yourselves at the end and say, we did it. And I always think it's always the little things like you were saying. Um, let's talk about um, sort of offers right now because I think offers are tricky right now. There's a lot going on. And I just would love to hear some best practices because you get a lot of listings. You also work with a lot of buyers. You see offers coming in from other agents. You know what a good offer looks like. What are some of the do's and don'ts for submitting offers to other agents?
Well, I mean, your sponsor, A&N Mortgage, having a fantastic lender makes a world of difference. They're very big in the real estate community. People know who they are. When I know I'm having a pre-approval from them, then I know that I have confidence that the transaction is going to go smoothly in the financial part. So having a really fantastic lender who is accessible is that plays a huge thing, a huge role. Secondly, a lot of people are waiving escalation riders. So I always do evaluation and discuss and educate my clients on how far they want to go with that and with my buyers. And doing things like waiving appraisal, waiving inspection. These, I would say before doing an as is would have been okay. Having your escalation rider would have been okay. But I would say what we're seeing in our listings is waiving inspection, waiving appraisal. And
Now, no, that's great. And I also am curious too about sort of the aesthetics of submitting an offer because some people just email a PDF or, it's literally just nothing in the body of the email and it's just a PDF, that then now the agent has to look through. A lot of agents don't call the listing agent afterwards saying, I just want to make sure you got it. Or, take a look if there's anything in there that, it concerns you, let me know. I want to get this deal closed. So I'm curious, as a listing agent, when you see offers coming in, what really impresses you, like aesthetically? Like, do you like seeing a summary of it in the email body or like a summary page? Like, what do you like to see?
yeah, that's a good point. Yes, I do like to see a summary page now that commission is negotiable, or it always was negotiable, but that, we don't, it could be different from, the listing agent, and the sellers are not the ones who are dictating that, it's the buyers who are. So putting that into is really important. So because we typically just forward to our buyers and then we make a spreadsheet. Of course, I would make a spreadsheet. So I make a spreadsheet with all the offers and then a bottom line too, because you have to do an apples to apples comparison. So earnest money, if you are waiving any of those things like that. I actually do like when the lender reaches out too and say, hey, they're very pre-approved. You don't need to worry about them as buyers. So I find that very helpful as well. So not just the agent, but the lender. I've actually had attorneys call. I don't think you need to do that. And my attorney's not going to call. So, but but I appreciate that that buyer has a strong team behind them to want to get close the deal. Um, sometimes, yes, sometimes I do call and I even state my client is aware that these are older windows and older roof. So I just want to, even though we're signing it as is, I want to make it very clear we are aware of these two things anyways. So this will not be brought up at like during attorney
The
review.
11th hour. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So just things like that, like I have educated my clients about XYZ. So this will not be an issue. And you've actually to a point with I don't have as many buyers now, but during like the COVID time, I've actually had realtors who have said to me, I know you close deals, Amy, because I know you educate your clients to get to the finish line. So this is why my clients have decided to proceed with your offer. So I don't really paint a rosy picture for my buyers. I make it very clear how much things are going to cost them. Um, I don't want them to be upset with me later or misguide them. And this is what our goal is. So you have to you have to realize sometimes it's not always what they want to hear, But this is how they win offers and deals, is they know the full picture.
As a listing agent, I'm curious when you get multiple offers, and this is just a rough estimate, what percentage of the time do the buyer agents call you to make sure you got the email, make sure they introduce themselves to you? Like, is it 75% of the time? Is it 50%? Is it 100%? Like, how often are you actually getting the call along with the emailed offer?
I don't think many people call as much as you would think, but it's a lot of text.
Yeah. Does everybody text? Does everyone do something other than the email? Or no?
I would say it's like 50%.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's just a
But
great tip right
I
there.
also I also do respond very quickly. Like once I get the offer, I say that I received because I've been on the other side too. I know it sucks. So I just want, and if you're listing, you say you received something to make
Yeah.
them like feel comfortable that they've gotten it. So like when I'm super busy or like on the road, I'm slow, a little bit slower, but I try once I receive it, I say that I received it. So they know that we have acknowledged it, that we have it, that the sellers are aware of it.
Let's talk about systems because I know that as a data person, you love systems. Systems are repeatable, systems are, efficient, or they certainly aspire to be, and they just make life a lot easier. You don't have to keep recreating, the wheel. And in my life, people consider me disciplined, which the irony is I have almost no discipline on that Clifton Strength Finder. Actually, Amy and I have both done the Clifton Strength Finder that Gallup puts out, and they tell you the 34 characteristics. They tell you you're number one all the way down to 34. Number 33 for me is discipline. I'm like, literally, it's the second most challenging thing for me. And yet people think I'm disciplined because I have systems. And again, it's because I don't have discipline that I need systems. So I want
Mhm.
to, and I want to get your take on systems related to, communication with clients,
Mhm.
marketing, prospecting, just basically staying in touch. How important are systems to you? And can you give us some examples of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so I don't try any new marketing tactics or marketing like ideas until fourth quarter of 20 any year. So and I really think about what worked, what didn't work, what we should try again, what we should like if we want to try new like mailing farming situation. All of that doesn't I don't think about marketing at all until every quarter, the fourth quarter of every year. That's when I really kind of delve in and decide how I'm going to spend my big marketing dollars. Of course, like when listings come, we do photography, videography, things like that, and there could be one-offs and whatnot. But for the most part, just figuring out where our money goes in terms of marketing, we don't, and where our efforts lie, and what we should take away and what we should put in does not happen until fourth quarter of every year. So that was something that like because I felt like I was getting distracted for the rest of the year. So if I really think about all of my like the marketing plan in just 1 month is just I would say it cleared my mind for the rest of the year to focus on clients. So we do monthly newsletters. You have to post every single day. Well, at least 5 times a week. I guess I don't
On
even
social media?
on social media 5 times a week, at minimum 5 times a week. So these are like thresholds that no matter what, no matter how busy you are, whatever, even when I was like having babies and like in labor, it had to be 5 days a week in social media. I have 3 kids, so um, so monthly newsletter, because I don't like to inundate my social sphere of influence too many times with email. That I just want to like stay on top of, they people like my monthly newsletters. So monthly newsletter, social media five
Let me
times.
let me pause you real quick on the social media. So posting 5 times a week, how often is that a static image, a text sort of post with an image, and how often is it a video?
Hmm. Yeah, actually, I was doing reels a lot before, but no, so I'm on TikTok, your dot Chicago Realtor, so you guys can find me there. I actually have a little more fun with that because I actually think TikTok is intended and meant to like be in part of someone's life. So I'm usually getting ready for the day. I'm like putting makeup on and I tell like it's a get ready with me. So it's a get ready with me. I will do videos of course my listings, or if I do like go see a cool place, or I had this crazy piano in one of my houses, so I put it in there. So but I do have a lot more fun with TikTok. I would not say I don't put the same stuff on this all of the different platforms.
Ah, interesting. So you
Yeah.
put different types of content on different platforms.
Well, mainly on TikTok and Instagram. And Instagram and Facebook are the same because it just feeds into two, but my TikTok page is not the same as my Instagram page. No. So Instagram is a little bit more static. I do some reels, but I don't do a ton. I know it does feed into it, but I think that it's just a like I think the grid, Instagram just has that grid, so that works really well for that
Mhm.
platform to do a little bit more static versus reels. So yeah, we're just playing around with it for a little bit. But yeah, and also I think our goal for TikTok, those are not the clients that are going to be buying tomorrow. I think those are the clients who are going to be buying in 5 years. So I really want to create a relationship with with that audience. Whereas I would say for Instagram, it's really my colleagues, like, my colleagues in Chicago, my colleagues outside of Chicago, referral based. I will get some buyers, but I don't think that that would be the goal for Instagram and Facebook. It's my sphere of influence. It's referrals, and it's like Chicagoland realtors that we stay connected.
Yeah, let's talk about sort of appreciation, client appreciation. I know you do holiday gifts. I don't know if you do events as well, but talk to us about how you stay engaged through that kind of like after the sale stuff. I obviously you mentioned they're getting newsletters, they're seeing you on social, but you're also doing some personal things and getting gifts out to them at different times, or
Yes.
certainly maybe inviting them to events. So tell us how you think about that.
Yeah, so the social media newsletters, we always do a holiday party. So we have a holiday party every year. And now our clients, it's kind of weird to go to your realtor's holiday party and like where no one knows each other. But now it's a thing and like people look forward to it. And they even say, like, oh, I get to hang out with Andrew, our attorney, or I get to hang out with Dean and Nina, our lender. And they see each other only once a year. But they have a great time and they love it. And it's from like circles, because we service all of Chicagoland area, city and suburbs. There will truly be people who wouldn't see each other only for this one time of year, and it's during the holidays, so people do make an effort to come out. I don't know, we have anywhere between 70 to 90 people come to our holiday parties. So that's like a pretty big number. So yeah, that's always a fun time. I think that both my husband and I do a great job in staying connected with our spheres. it got to a point where, we couldn't really do dinners all the time with our clients just because we have children, smaller children. So we would like group people together while we had dinner. Again, people who didn't know each other. So, and that has been a lot of fun too. So staying connected throughout the year, like we know lots of our clients like certain things, so we would say, hey, do you want to go play tennis or golf or things like that? Activities. If you everyone should join like get a hobby if they don't have, and it's healthy for you. Blow off some steam, but on top of that, that is one easy way for a sphere of influence that you would have never known otherwise. So pickle, working out, running, whatever it is, you got to get a hobby. So that has been really fantastic as well. Yeah, we do gift. So we typically do we my husband is Korean, I'm of Asian descent as well, Chinese and Vietnamese. So we put a lot of focus on Lunar New Year. So we do a huge marketing campaign for Lunar New Year, and anybody's welcome to get our Lunar New Year gifts. If you want it, send me a DM and I'll send it to you. But typically we drop off all of our Lunar New Year gifts to our clients every year, and it's coincidentally at a really great time because it's in February, so it really kicks off to the spring market as well.
And also a time when other realtors aren't probably doing lots of gift giving. So
Yeah,
it's a great time just to stick out among the crowd.
yeah. Don't do Christmas. You could do Thanksgiving pies.
Yeah.
You could drop off like a plant in the spring. You can do something fun in January, like for dry January. You could do like a board game or something. So, but don't do Christmas.
Yeah. Too crowded. Too crowded.
Yes.
Now, I have actually I have three last questions for you. One is how important is well, how do you stay on top of the MLS, knowing everything that you can? Obviously, you can't know the entire Chicagoland area at an expert level because we have so many we have so many neighborhoods and suburbs. But for your chosen sort of niche, and I know you guys work everywhere, but there are obviously areas that you know extremely well. How often are you on your own, even before getting a client in that area? How often are you reviewing listings, seeing what's out there, seeing where prices are at, and how important is that?
Oh, I do it every day. So I have two searches set up. I have a search for pocket listings in the Chicagoland area, and I review it every day. And then I have search just for the suburb that I live in, just so I know what's going on in that suburb as well, because people ask me all the time, like, "Oh, did you see that house on Washington or whatever?" So I would say you should set up a search for yourself for the area that you want to, and if anything, do a search for come up pocket listings, because that is what you can reach out to buyers with. Like, hey, this is a pocket listing. And this is how you create value as a realtor to your clients, is providing them information that they wouldn't get otherwise. Or if they were to get it, they would be getting it later.
Yeah, I think that's great. Okay, another question. I know that you are a huge fan of sneaking in real estate into conversations with non-real estate people, right? Just, the public. So tell us about sort of how you do that and how it works for you.
Yeah, so I watched Lady Bird like when it came out. I don't know if anybody's watched that movie, but there's a scene where the mom and the daughter had just gotten into a fight, and the mom is like, "Let's go do our favorite thing." And then the daughter's like, "Okay, yeah, let's go do our favorite thing." Then the next scene is that they wake up in the morning, and then they get ready, and then they go to open houses. And I'm like, "What the heck?" Like I honestly, I don't know. Maybe we'll do this already and they know. I was legit mind blown that people will go to open houses that aren't actually really looking. I don't know. Did you know this? I didn't know
I,
this.
I did only because I've heard from so many agents that this happens in their area, and but it's not something I've ever done.
And then like in the scene, they pretend that they're like
Yeah.
interested in the house. So to me, this is what I just assume. Like, why would I not think? they were interested if they weren't there, So yeah, I would say that I realize that everybody wants to know about real estate. If it's ugly, if it everybody. So, knowing listings that are on the market, understanding where, what reading about real estate and being able to, whenever the opportunity arises that you can talk about it, that's when you can take these nuggets of information that you've been doing and researching and learning, and this is why I read so much about real estate or just learn so much about, what's going on, is the availability of having that conversation when the time is right. Because I don't want to just say, hey, give my business card. I don't even have business cards, but like, just like, hey, use me. No, I don't think anyone's going to do that anymore. I think it's, the really just the, being knowledgeable about your market and being able to put it in conversation when you can.
That's great. Okay, two last questions. One is open houses. We have Maria here in the chat is saying she doesn't do a lot of open houses unless the owner asks for it, or she has a lot of appointments. How important are open houses, Amy, to you when you get listings?
I think it's very important. Every new listing that we get, we do at least two, if not three open houses. We're starting to do open houses on Friday now too. So we'll go live Wednesday or Thursday. We'll do an open house Friday, Saturday, and now we're going to start doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday open houses. Lots of people, due to the change in law, some people don't want to sign the buyer's agreement, but you would still want to, for your seller, have the opportunity that they go see the property. So I do think it is important to do open houses. But that's my
Yeah,
opinion. People can do what they want.
sure. Yeah, well, it's a great way just to meet people that you might not otherwise meet too, right? Like that's part of the whole point is maybe there's some unrepresented buyers that walk in and obviously but it all depends on how you market it too. Like I've done, by the way, we're going to be talking about open houses here just a little bit. So for those of you that are like, they don't really work for me, we're going to make them work for you when Mary Lou comes on. All right, my very last oh, by the way, Carolyn asked, how do you set up a search for pocket listing? Carolyn, we won't talk about that here, but here's my recommendation. If you're in the Chicagoland area, you're going to want to call the MLS. Our provider is called MRED. They have a help desk. They literally pick up the phone within one ring. They love these questions. Call them, ask them. They will set it up for you. If you're at a different market in the country, just call your local MLS, ask them how to set this up. They'll show you. This way you don't have to fumble around and figure it out. I know our MLS system, I'd like it to be a lot more advanced technologically. It isn't, so it's a little tricky to use. That's why these help desks exist. Okay, last question for Amy. Oh, sorry, we have one more question. Marion asks, what days do you see the most traffic for open houses?
It just depends on if there's a holiday weekend happening or whatnot. But I would say, the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. There's so many people who, because lack of inventory, that want to get in right away. So that's why I started doing Friday open houses, because they were asking for it anyways. So that's why I was doing it. But certainly at least Saturday or Sunday, you should have an open house for any new listing.
That's great.
And
And then
that's how we do things.
are you doing anything sort of creative to get the open house knowledge out there? Is it just putting it on the MLS or are you doing other marketing efforts to let people know about it?
Yeah, I mean, if people have not been boosting their listings on social media when you post it, I highly suggest to do that. And you can make it very specific by zip code, by like city, by age bracket, so you're not wasting your dollars on like an 18-year-old or 15-year-old to look at this. You can make it very specific. If I have a ranch, I may be doing it a little bit just because of stairs and whatnot, but you can do all of this on social media, on Instagram and on Facebook. So boosting is really fantastic. And even if you want to just do it, like have Instagram and Facebook do it for you, that's really fantastic too, because it's going to be similar to your followers. So I would say boosting is very helpful. Reverse prospecting, we it's a lot of work, but you can get all the emails of all the agents who this listings being sent, and we send out when our open house is going to happen. So we have an e-flyer, and we do that for every new listing that we get.
Love it. Last question. This is a tricky one. I'm going to put Amy a bit on the spot. So, Amy, feel free to think this one out a little bit. But I want to have two questions that are wrapped into kind of one. One is, what's the best piece of advice you ever received as an agent, or what's one great piece of advice you received as an agent from another agent?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, this is more of like a work-life situation.
Yeah.
But Barbara O'Connor, anybody in the Chicagoland in the Chicagoland area will know who she is. She's an amazing realtor, amazing managing broker. And then when I was starting out in my career, it was really important for me that I would have time for my children. So she told me just block out like your son's hockey, her kids play hockey, but so she said my son's hockey game was just important as this listing presentation. So block out what's important to you, don't and work around it. You don't need to tell your clients that your son is having a hockey game. You can just say, I'm currently available, not available at the time, but I'm available, and you give a different time. So, because this job you can burn out. So I think the reason why I love it so much and why I can be doing it for so long is that I created boundaries very early on, and she gave me that advice.
Great. So create boundaries, work-life balance. Don't burn yourself out. Nobody needs to be responding to texts at 12:30 at night. Well, I don't know, maybe you want to, but you don't
Yeah,
have to.
you don't have to.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't
And
have
then
to.
last question is what's a bad piece of advice you ever received as an agent?
Hmm. I don't know. There's a lot, I guess. Um, actually, I'm debating on taking a rental right now. Like, you don't know where your $1 million, $2 million buyer can come from. But she called me. She seems like a lovely woman. She lives in a very affluent area. She chose to share that in the phone conversation. She's helping her adult son get a rental. I'm like, you know what? I think she's gonna be a good lead. Like, don't be too caught up. Well, this is good advice. So I'm not, but
Yeah.
people will say not to do it. And
Yeah.
I think you have to just go with your gut sometimes on who you're going to work with, you know?
And renters become buyers. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but I would say, don't just focus on the dollar amount. I've sold the same buyer, I've sold a $200,000 house with them, and I've sold a $4 million house with them. Same person. You never know.
Yeah,
All I'm saying.
amazing. Well, Amy, thank you so much for your time. Amy Duong Kim is our guest today. She's the second time she's been on our show. We love having her on. She's wonderful. And by the way, if you are an agent in another market and you have clients that move in and out of Chicago, guess what? You can talk to Amy. She would love to chat with you, maybe become a referral partner. And she as well has people that leave Chicago. A lot of people here as they get older go south, Florida, places like that. So certainly she wants to connect as well. So maybe you could create a little referral source there. So definitely reach out to her if you're in the Chicagoland area and you think you might be able to add value to Amy's team, or you want to just see if maybe you would be a good fit. She's not specifically looking for new team members now, but she always is open to having those conversations. So definitely reach out to her if you're on a team that maybe you're not getting the right attention to, or that you think you could add some value over to Amy. Reach out to her. She's wonderful, as you can tell, and super sweet and super kind and generous. And we're so honored to have her. So thank you, Amy. We will let you get back to your prospecting and really appreciate your time today. Guys, we will take a break. We will be back in 10 minutes. So go feel free to refresh and we will see you soon. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, hang on one sec. I think I have my, let's see. Awesome. Yeah. Hey, how are you? You're muted.
Probably hard to say hi if I'm
One
muted.
of those days. Yeah.
Um,
You look so nice.
Thank you. I'm wearing like a sort of Victorian meets Brooklyn shirt. How are you? How's
I
life?
love it. Good. I repainted where I painted my back wall. It was always white before. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a good color. Yeah, I think it's
It's
fun.
really nice. It looks like it's like has that textural like the chalkboard where it's not black, it's like off
Yeah.
black. Like
Yeah.
it looks
Yeah.
great. I
Yeah.
like it.
Thanks. So guys, we'll get started in just a few minutes here. So this is going to be an interactive session. So I'm going to need your participation to make the most of this. So Kim is going to be talking to you and asking for your feedback in the chat. She's going to be asking questions. This is really important. You will get much more value if you can throw a couple of answers in as she's asking, because she will tailor her presentation to you. So that's pretty cool. So definitely think about when it comes to your social media presence, in particular your video presence, or lack of video presence. What are some of the things that you're struggling with, and where are some of what would you like to do with your videos, if you're or get started with videos, right? And a lot of people haven't even ever gotten started. And Kim's going to explain why it's so important to have video content. And we're going to tell you sort of how to do it and how to get unstuck, because, it's there's a lot of fears out there posting video content, filming it, um, doing, feeling like you look good on and sound good on camera, and also knowing what to post. So there's a lot to talk about. So think about those challenges that you might be experiencing, and we're going to help break through those in just a minute. Also, for anyone who's joining us a little bit later, I would love to get your feedback. This is just a personal thing for me, a selfish thing that I'm going to ask you for. Is when you have a moment, check out our website, joinkale.com. Not because I'm trying to recruit you over here to Kale, although you can certainly always join us. We'd love to have you, but because I just rebuilt that website and I did it myself, and I tried to really make it look cool. I think it looks neat. It's my intent was to sort of make it very easy to navigate. And I just, from an agent's perspective, you guys are out there practicing. I am not. So I just want to hear from you. You could just obviously let me know privately, but let me know how it looks. Does it flow well? Is there, if you were looking for a firm, is that kind of the information you'd want to see? Is it missing anything? Things like that would be super helpful for me, because I spend a lot of time on it. It's a lot of fun, and we're actually getting a lot of traffic to it now. But you don't get a lot of feedback, so would love to know that. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our second session. So thank you, everyone. Hope everyone appreciated the first session with Amy. She is wonderful, and again, it's just a lot of fundamentals, right? You didn't hear her probably say anything you don't already know that you should do. But when I go to see my trainer at the gym, she doesn't tell me there's this new super cool exercise that nobody's ever known about that I'm going to show you, and it's going to revolutionize your physique. No, it's like, oh, we're going to do pull-ups today. It's like, oh, really? I have to do pull-ups? Well, yeah. So a lot of what Amy said, I know is fundamental, but the fundamentals win the game. So we're going to talk about the fundamentals of video and social media video engagement today. So before we get to that, let me introduce my guest, who is all the way from Brooklyn, New York, and she has an incredible background, and we're so lucky to have her. She comes on our show every single month to tell you how to do video better. So please subscribe to the Keeping It Real podcast. She also has her own podcast we're going to talk about in a moment. But if you aren't already a subscriber to our show, keepingitrealpod.com is where you can go, or just look us up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever. Just search for Keeping It Real. Look for the one with DJ Paris, that's me, and hit that subscribe button. You'll get Kim every single month, and we're going to also have you subscribe to hers as well. But let me tell you more about Kim. So Kim Ripberg is a six-time award-winning digital marketer and real estate video coach. She helps agents attract clients and is seen as the go-to, or to be seen as the go-to agent through video and podcast. Her agents have earned tens of millions of dollars in home sales through their work together. She works with some of the very top agents in the country. I know them because they ultimately get interviewed on my show because Kim goes, "You got to interview my client. She's so awesome." And then she ended up coming on our show. So I know who she works with and some of the biggest teams and some of the biggest individual producers. She's the real deal. She spent 15 years as a media executive at Netflix, People Magazine, and in TV news. She launched the first ever video unit for Us Weekly magazine and was integral in its $100 million sale. Kim has been featured in Business Insider and Forbes and contributes to Fast Company and is a speaker all over the country, including a Berkshire Hathaway Home Service Convention, Inman Connect, Fast Company Innovation Festival, and the Women's Real Estate Investment Summit. She is a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania Annenberg School and is a judge for the Emmys, Webbies, and Anthem Awards. She also hosts the Top 1% podcast, The Exit Interview with Kim Ritberg, which shares stories of agents and founders along with their concrete advice every Wednesday, plus 5-minute marketing episodes on Fridays. Wednesdays, and 5-minute marketing episodes on Fridays. Fun fact, Kim spent a year backpacking solo and used to perform improv comedy, not at the same time, of course, but she also speaks Spanish. I am going to put a link to Kim's podcast right here in the chat so you guys can subscribe. Guys, she's the real deal. She knows so much, and check her out, subscribe to her show. And also, she does consulting for you to help you with your social media video content. We're going to have lots of participation here in the chat so we can give you guys, just posted her video or her podcast. Like, Kim, welcome once again back to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. DJ is the best host, so curious and smart. And like, this is always so fun to be here. Man, I didn't realize how, my bio is so braggy, but I always tell people, you got to tell people what you've done or else they think that you're a phony and you don't know what you're doing. So there it is. I have all my, for anyone watching, I got all my obnoxious awards in the background, but more importantly is that I use that to help you. So forget about my awards, blah, blah, blah. It's more that I am excited to share my knowledge with you to help you make more money, to get more buyers, more sellers. So in the chat, if you can drop in here how long you've been in real estate. That always helps me. This is a live seminar. I know people listen to it later, but for those of you listening, interacting live, it helps me to know who's here with us live. You get the benefit. We'll do a little Q&A at the very end. Great. 14 years, 11 years. And I'm going to start doing a little bit of a screen share now that you've seen. I'll do a little bit of a screen share once that gets approved. 1 year, 10 years, 11 years. Great. So we have all across the gamut. And I would say what has been, I don't know why I have all caps. Sorry about that. What has been your biggest challenge with content? And that's some of the things that we're going to be talking about today in this seminar is really breaking through those barriers. I'm going to show you. So this is a little bit, I speak around the country at different real estate keynotes and panels. I spoke at Inman Connect this year. I was the keynote at Next Home. My screen share is going to start shortly, but I really love empowering agents. I personally run my own business, and I know that every year, just like you guys in January, you're at zero. That's how it goes. And so it's really, really important to learn how to leverage your phone to become cash. And I like to say content converts to cash because that is really understanding how you can actually turn that phone on. I like to think of it as like a faucet, right? Once you understand how to turn it on, you can, but until then it's like stuck basically in the same place. So and one thing I wanted to share is I was working in corporate. And then when I found myself working during the birth of my child, I decided I wanted to work for myself, to have more control over my hours and more flexibility. And similar to agents, I work for myself and I really have to let people know who I am, what I do, why they should trust me. And so that's what I love about sharing this knowledge with agents, because if you need people to like you, to know you, to trust you, video is such an amazing way to do that. Okay. So I want to start from the beginning, remembering that when you're an agent, keeping in mind who your audience is. So your audience can be past clients. It could be other agents, right? They could be referring you. They could be sharing deals with you, developers, referral partners, new clients, expanding your sphere of influence, but also rekindling those relationships you already have. So whether you've been in business for 1 year or 11 years, you have a lot of contacts and you need to come up top of mind. And great, keep dropping in the chat. Those of you who are here live, drop in the chat what you've been struggling with, what your biggest struggles have been. And I'd love to know, how do you feel about being on camera? So if 1 is, I hate the camera, and 10 is, you're ready for Broadway, drop in the chat what number you're at. And again, I think it's really important to say, being on camera is not some incredible special skill that some people have and other people don't. It's really about transferring your in-person capabilities. So everyone who's an agent knows how to talk to people in person. Literally, it's a part of your job. So I know that because that is what it is. So for those of you who are saying that you're a 1, I see Carol and Marion are a 1, Carolyn's an 8, DJ's a 7. So when you're a 1, I hate the camera, then you come to me and we dig in and we say, A, why do we hate the camera? Right? Do we just feel uncomfortable? And actually, because there's 2 1s in here, can I say, like, why do you hate the camera? And have you always hated the camera? Because sometimes I see people saying, I hate the camera because I look X, Y, or Z, old, or I sound weird, or I hate my voice, or whatever, right? A lot of those things that we hate the camera is really in our head. And then that ends up blocking us. Because if we are hiding from the camera, we're hiding from clients. And so it's very important to start realizing, the sooner I get out of hiding, the more I can start to convert my content into cash. Because again, real estate is a relationship business. And so if you even activate the contacts you already know, get on a call with them, get on a meeting with them, that does so much. And with video, you can reach so many more people. Video is promoted more than any other piece of content. Statistically, it's actually shared the most. So video gets shared more. And all the algorithms on all the social media applications promote video more than other content. So that's just important to know some of the why. Like, why is it worth putting in the effort? Because I'm not going to pretend it's not effort. It is effort. But it's really important to understand that. And I want to say confidence on camera. I want you to just reframe. Confidence on camera is transferring your in-person confidence speaking to a client to the camera. And that's something that I love working with my clients on. I have a training program that I'll tell you about in a little while. But when I work with my agents, I like sharing with you the tips and tricks of how to convert your in-person confidence to camera. Because the number 1 myth is that you are magically good at camera or bad on camera. And it's not true. It is a skill set. And it is really about taking the confidence that you have in a sales meeting, the confidence you have in your business every day, and putting that on camera. And that's just a skill set shift, but it's just a mindset shift. And it's a building of that skill set. So Marion and Carol, I'm picking on Carol and Marion, and I'm saying, does that help? Like, is that helpful? Is that helpful? Or they're like, no, Kim's picking on me. Don't talk to me. I'd love for people who are live to let me know, what are you struggling with most? I see a DJ talking about hashtags, how many videos to make, right? Personal versus professional. I get these questions so much. Carolyn says coming up with what to post. I hear that a lot. Great. Carol saying it is helpful. Awesome. Love hearing that. And again, if you could drop in Carol and Marion 10 years, Carolyn's 11 years. Great. Cool. And then let me know if some of these are the blocks that you have with making camera. Number 1, making video. Number 1 is video will take too long. So if that's one of the struggles you have, just drop in the 1 is video will take too long. 2 is you feel shy on camera. And then 3 is don't have ideas. And I think, when you can identify more specifically what you're struggling with, it's easier to break through it. So I'm seeing Carol and Miranda being honest about the fact that it is the camera, right? It is the fear of the camera. And that's not to say it's good or bad or whatever. Everyone's struggling with something, because even people who are confident on camera, maybe they struggle with the time management piece. Maybe they struggle with ideation. So everyone has a part of the process that they're in the middle of working on. And that's totally normal. 1, right? So I'm seeing 1, video take too long. 3, I don't have ideas. Great. So the very first thing, and I want you guys to write this down or take a screen share or whatever, or write it on your leg, tattoo it on your body. Content converts to cash. So what does this mean? This means that once you understand how to leverage your phone, how to leverage video, you can actually make more money. Until you actually believe that, you're never going to show up on camera because you don't have that motivation. And without motivation, you won't make a change. And I'm not making this up. This is everything. This is if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to build a new habit, if you're trying to meditate every day. Without that motivation, you will not take the next step. So you have to truly believe that content converts to cash. And until you truly believe that, you will not make any strides. So if you are feeling that and you're believing that, I want you to type in the chat, content converts to cash. I'm waiting. I'm not going to wait too long, but I'm waiting. Great. And then I'm going to go over some of the C's that are really important to learn and put into practice to make video that brings in clients. So the first C is connection. So great. I'm seeing some people in the chat. Miranda, Carol, DJ, awesome. Content converts to cash. So want to start with the fact that connection is the underpinning of not just social media, but of relationship building in business. So people who are in service-based industries, agents, business owners, consultants, coaches, anyone who's really selling people to people, it's a connection-based business. So we mentioned the target audiences earlier, potential referrers, directly clients, expanding your sphere of influence, relationships, past relationships popping back up. I'm giving you an example of what does it look like to build up that connection. So the connection means when you're showing up on camera, you are trying to connect in a more personal way. What does that look like? So I'm going to show you Jessica. So Jessica is an agent, a client of mine who took my video bootcamp course. She's a real estate agent and a mom of two. And when she came to me, she was struggling with confidence on camera, her delivery, and overthinking. Like she felt like she was just like analysis paralysis with whether or not to post things and about how much personal content to share. So she took video bootcamp and we really honed in on the strategy of bringing more of herself. She was a mom of two kids and building her business. And the truth is that is relatable, right? It's not a turnoff. It's relatable to be building your business while growing your family. And we had her showing up consistently with a strategy we built together. And then last year, she sold $5 million in homes directly from video. So there's all this other business coming in, but that's what she could directly track. So that's not even that's not even the end of it, right? So that means she's making a lot more than that. So she said it started with one client and now three, and now it's a feed of clients, right? The clients had been using other agents, but they switched to me and they said they felt I was really knowledgeable. So she was building that connection to let people get to know her, but also layering in the expertise. So again, the first C is connection. And Jessica and Brienne, so for those of you who are listening as a one, that's how unconfident you feel on camera, Brienne is another agent of mine. She's from Florida and she came into video bootcamp. I have never seen someone really, really not wanting to show up on camera. She was probably like one of my top camera shy people. But we just kept working on it, the mindset piece, right? What's holding you back? Let's tap into that more deeply. Let's really understand what's under that. And then eventually we started getting her on camera. Within a week of one of her videos she posted, she got a referral and she ended up having that contract. So that was a client. And that client led to another client and it built its own little sort of cottage industry of clients from that. And so last year she built another $2.5 or $3 million last year off of video directly. Like she could track that person found me from that video. They said that. I saw the video that they commented on. So again, we're really talking about going from camera shy to within not that long, like, months and months, to actually making money off of video. So it doesn't have to be the sort of thing where, it's like this huge thing. We can build the mindset, build the skill set. Credibility. So another C is credibility. So if you go to a doctor, they're going to take out your appendix. You want to see that diploma on their wall. Likewise, if someone is going to work with you to help buy or sell their home, not only do they want the connection, they want to like you, they want to think you're knowledgeable. Now, this does not matter if you're 1 year in the business or 13 years in the business. Credibility can come from a lot of things. It can come from showing them your experience, your deals, your number placement in your city, right? Maybe you're number 4 in your city. But it's also about bringing people in to how you see and how you teach about real estate. So that looks like this. Annette, I guess I have a little typo here, but Annette is a real estate agent in Canada. She was actually new to real estate, relicensed, but she had done it in the past. And she just did video boot camp. And she landed 4 clients in 1 month. And so it's interesting because she really honed in on her area of expertise. And for her, that's downsizing. So she's really working with an older crowd and really zooming in on her credibility in that sphere. She landed 4 clients in a month. And she was laughing, saying one person thought she was a super businesswoman because of her content. So the passion and the knowledge you bring, don't keep it in your head, right? Don't keep it in these one-to-one conversations. Share it more broadly. And I know it's hard at first, but once you start thinking about, okay, so someone was saying earlier, it's hard to think about what ideas to have. Well, as you're in meetings with clients, write down the questions they had, write down the answers you gave them. That's perfect for content. So I love this example because I do think Annette was really back in real estate. She'd been out of it for a bit. So for those of you who feel, they're new and it's hard to think about like, what are you going to make? What are you going to post? There's plenty of material there, and just go for it. Don't compare yourself to other people who've been in it longer. So the next C is clarity. This I absolutely love because I do think this is something I see a lot of agents struggling with. So I was a national TV producer when I first started in media. I was the person who would select people to be on camera, and I would help them write their sound bites. I would write stories for news and lifestyle shows. It is so important to be able to express yourself in a clear way. So if you are coming on camera and you're going to talk about the market, get to the point and be super clear about it. People want to know what you have to say, but we live in a world of 8-second attention spans. So you have to get in and be quick and clear. And one thing I like to say is it's clarity of each video, but it's also clarity of your overall message. So one thing I do in my program called Video Bootcamp, which I'm going to mention a little more, I have a 4-day intensive next week. So it's 2.5 hours each day next week where you can master video in just 4 days. Really digging in and getting a clear and unique message of you as an agent. Everyone's like, I have agents come to me and they're like, well, I sell homes. I don't really have there's nothing unique about me. I'm like, no. Everyone has something unique about them. So it's my job to help you peel back the layers and really identify that unique message, the unique point of view that only you can offer. So that can be about your passions, your personal interests, but also if you really think more, you probably have a little bit of, I've served more of this clientele, or I serve this neighborhood, right? So it can be different things. It could be your area. It can be the demographics. It can also just be, you have a cool passion or a cool hobby, or, whatever it is, you love your dog, you go on dog walks up the mountain, whatever that is, but really bringing that in and being clear about who you are as a person, as you put your brand out there. And also in each and every video, making it super clear. Cool. So far we have clarity, we have connection, we have credibility. All right. Those are three of the C's. And now, this is a great example of clarity also. So Judy is a New York City based real estate agent, and she did Video Bootcamp with me. She was looking to craft a video strategy and bring in leads, referrals, and sales, leaning into her love of journalism. And she was really interested in doing the entertaining and informational, really merging that together. Her videos they're such a good example, always very clear. There's a good headline on each one. She gets to the point. They're also well produced, but they're really clear. You go to her feed, you know what you're getting. She loves New York. She went to NYU. She was a transplant in New York. You get there and you're like, I understand this person. So Judy Joe, she's doing a great job. You can check her out. She just closed 2 more deals. She's getting 1 to 2 referrals weekly. She's really leaning to video. And the very first deals came from people she hadn't seen in over 10 years. And it's because of the work we did together to build the strategy and the execution. So earlier in this seminar, I talked about the audiences. So some of our audiences are people we haven't seen in 10 years, and that's great. A client's a client, right? So remembering that when you're putting out clients, you're often not remembering all the people you know. I've had this personally for me happen in my life. I just got on a call with someone I hadn't seen since college, that saw what I was posting on social media and, was considering writing a book and wants to build his thought leadership. So again, it's really, you're not remembering all the people you know, but once you start showing up, they'll start remembering you. And that's what it means to stay top of mind. The last C is creativity. So I think it's very important to remember that creativity does not need to be this like crazy fancy tech. Everyone overthinks it. It could just be having a fun moment, right? Like my client, Melissa, she's a Kansas real estate agent. Missouri. Wait, oh my God. It's having, I need another coffee. She had a video where she was in someone's house and she just had like a fun moment. And she shows her open house, and this person comes and says, my granddaughter saw your video and really liked it and said, we have to come to this open house. So these are not people who are following her. They actually saw her video. They landed on it, not directly, right? They're not followers of hers. And that's exactly it, is that building that sphere of influence and then getting organic new followers on top of it, people to buy the homes, people to sell the homes, people to hire you. So again, that's what we're talking about, right? So creativity can come in all different forms. Cool. Drop in the chat what has been most valuable so far. I'm going to try to spell that word valuable right. What has been most valuable so far? I'm going to stop screen sharing for just a quick sec. Okay. Let me know what has been most helpful. I'm gonna just pause for a second to see what's going on. Breaking down the C's. Okay, great. Awesome. Breaking down the C's. Yes, creating content as a cash generator. The examples, great. I'm glad. Thank you, Carol. I'm glad to hear that was helpful, because I do think sometimes a lot of content is like theoretical and you have to see like, what does this mean for me in my industry, in my business? So I'm glad that that was really helpful. Awesome. And so the next question is, how do you do this? So I wanted to share, you don't have to have fancy equipment, of course. So how do you do this, right? How do you do this? So we talked about the things that you need to work on, right? Mindset. So for those of you who are not confident on camera, that's a mindset thing. But then we have to build that skill set. And then we need the repetition and accountability. Without any of these, you can't have success. Every single person who is in this deck, we did video boot camp together. We shifted our mindset. We built our skill set, and then we kept on doing it, right? Accountability and repetition. So I wanted to share with you video boot camp is a culmination of all the things that I've been learning in media, learning in social media, training my agents on throughout the country. I've trained hundreds of agents across the country. I do keynotes at Inman, Next Home, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. It is a live coaching program that also gives you access to how-to videos and templates. So it's both live and gives you support on your own at home as well. It is a complete system where you implement it and see results. I have a 4-day intensive where you master video in just 4 days. That starts next week. So if you're interested in that, I am going to drop in the a way to chat with me. We can hop on the phone. And it has how-to videos showing you how to build all of these incredible things just on your phone, using your phone, and how-to videos on how to design content and make video, but simply. I really, really believe that your phone can be your most valuable marketing tool. You do not need like crazy tech. You do not need editors. You can just use your phone and make money. So content can convert to cash. And so I have a special bonus just for keeping it real, folks. If you schedule a call this week, you will be eligible to get a $750 value of a social media roadmap call. That means we will have a private one-on-one chat, and I will map out your social media for you, with you, but for you. So if you schedule a call and then you sign up for Video Bootcamp, we will do that social media roadmap with you. And that's really, really exciting just for the Keeping It Real folks. Artem has a good question. Great. I will share that as well. And then I'm going to also put this up here, the download of this code, or I'll put the chat in here. Actually, I don't even think you need the code. I'll put this in here and we can connect on social. I'll just drop the links in here. So I'm going to put the chats in here. So I think it's really, really important. And I'm going to put, I'll put all of my, I think that the amazing DJ and the amazing Xana are going to put it in here as well. But if you want my free download, that is a free download. I would say in terms of, and then for anyone who is interested in Video Bootcamp, really ready to master video, like really actually gonna make this year, 2025 is like the year you start converting content into cash. This is the time. You get to be confident on camera. I show you how to make the videos, what to make, come up with ideas, right? And so it's not hard when you have a system and a coach. So if you are interested in Video Bootcamp, again, anyone who schedules the call with me by the end of this week, you will be eligible for the $750 value call, social media roadmap, and I build it with you. So I'm going to leave in these chats. Sorry, I have the wrong link again. And then so anybody who has questions, I'm here for the questions. So Artem is asking, what is the app you use to edit videos on your phone? So CapCut is a great app, super user-friendly. InShot, also pretty easy. Honestly, if you are very comfortable inside a social media application, like Instagram has updated their editing capabilities. So if you're like, I love Instagram, I don't want to use anything else, just use Instagram, and then you can use that content for your other apps. Honestly, if you really hate technology, just use your phone. Like, just use your phone, pop it on social media. Like, I think that we all think that people expect you to be some Hollywood editor, and they do not. They expect you to be really knowledgeable about their homes, and everything else is gravy. And also it just depends on your budget, right? If you have a budget and you want to bring in a team, bring in a team, have a videographer, have an editor. If you don't want to, you can make a lot of money with this guy right here, just with your phone. So
There's a new app that just dropped from Instagram to compete with CapCut called Edits. I don't know if it's available to everyone. I got an invite to try it out. I haven't tried it out yet, but it's on iOS. So Apple devices, you may be able to find it in the App Store. Just look up the word Edits plural, edit plural, and it's supposed to directly compete with CapCut. But I love CapCut. It is really easy to use. It's a little daunting at first. There's a slight learning curve, but within 30 minutes you'll get it. And there's YouTube videos, and then there's what's really cool about it. I love is that there's the desktop app or laptop app, whatever, for your Windows or Mac, and it'll sync between your phone and the PC. So if you're like, I don't like editing on my phone, it's really tricky and cumbersome. So I don't prefer that. I like to sort of do it. But it's actually for me easier on the PC. So I can literally start it on my phone, and then it just transfers right to the computer. And I now, I've gotten so I've gotten so good at editing, and I'm not particularly great at it, but I've got so proficient at it. I can make a 60-second video and edit it within about 7 minutes. I'll film it within a couple of minutes. So you can learn this stuff fast.
And one thing, so in the Video Bootcamp class that I just mentioned, I teach my students how to do it. It seems overwhelming when you're like, oh, all this new technology. This is technology made for regular people. So don't let that hold you back. Like there's a lot of editing tools that fancy editors use. It's not CapCut. They use a whole different system. CapCut is made for regular people. Don't forget, it is made for regular people. So I have all of these how-to videos in Video Bootcamp where I show you exactly how to use CapCut, exactly how to use Instagram. But I think it's also important that sometimes people say, like, what app should I use or what should I film on? You really have to step back and say, work on your strategy and understand what you're showing up as. Like, what is your strategy? What do you consistently post about? Because without that underlying strategy, video is not going to bring you clients. Like, content's not going to bring you clients if it's kind of like a hodgepodge of your cat videos and photos of your family, and once in a while you talk about real estate. That's kind of like, it's just not going to get you clients like that. So I like to say just listed and just sold is a good beginning, but it's the bare minimum. So I think when people ask me about, like, what app do you use or what, I love that question and I love being helpful, but I do like to remind people the camera and the apps are after you have a strategy, after you're like, this is what I post about. I feel confident on camera. This is what I post about. I understand who my clients are. Then use CapCut, use Instagram, use whatever editor you want in whatever social platform you're using, but don't let the tech hold you back. And B, don't even think about the tech till you have your strategy built out. So, and you can follow me on Instagram. I have lots of free tutorials. I drop so much knowledge for free on Instagram and YouTube, and I'm, happy to share the information. I love it. So, follow me on social media, say hi, say, I found you on Keeping It Real. I'm at Kim Rittberg, Rittberg. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube at Kim Rittberg Content. So there's lots of free resources out there. So if you are looking to do it in a really inexpensive way, and if for those of you who are looking to get confident on camera, I also have a $37 on camera challenge. It's a 7-day challenge just to like really push you over the hump, just to get you kind of showing up more. So you can message me and I'll send that to you as well. That's on my website as well. But there's lots of ways to start doing it. No matter your budget, no matter your confidence level, like you can do it, everyone can do it.
Yeah, I thank you, Kim. Because of our podcast, I'll sort of pull back the curtain a little bit for those that aren't in the podcast world, which why would you be unless you are? Kim is. And what you find if when you start getting a following and you start getting decent traffic is you start getting publicists that reach out, and they reach out on behalf of their clients. We get no joke, Zana will tell you, could be 15 a day some days, different requests from realtors, people who are coaches, people who are in the industry and want to get to be interviewed for the audience. And we get asked by a lot of social media coaches. Now, Kim is specifically a social media video coach. I will tell you, I cannot tell you how many people claim to be social media video coaches, dozens and dozens, and we get pitched by them every single week. And not to put them down, they're probably fine. They're great. I know that Kim is literally one of the best, if not the very best in the industry, because I know her background. I know what she's done. She has the traditional media background. So she was behind the camera for many, 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 many years. So she knows how it works. She knows how to get you up to speed. And we have sent through our Keeping It Real podcast a ton of clients her way. Guys, she is worth it. I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't believe it. And we only work with Kim. She's the only person we promote because she's really that good, and she's never steered me wrong. She's never steered one of our clients wrong. Guys, it's worth it. Even if you only ever just got one transaction out of it, which you won't, you'll get tons more. But even if you only get one, it's going to pay for whatever the services that Kim whatever the Kim's costs are, which I don't even know because I don't care, because I send everyone over to her because she's so good. It doesn't matter because she's going to make you money. So that just wanted to make that plug for Kim because she really is legitimately that good.
I really appreciate that. Thank you, DJ. And I do think it is important for agents. Like, I think a lot of times I myself also have invested a lot of money into my business, like with the business coach, with website, with branding. And you have to invest in marketing. And I think there's something like some marketing or business, like mathematical formula. You're supposed to be investing at least 10% of your business in marketing. And if you're not spending that, that's a mistake. Because when you invest that 10%, you get much more than 10% back. And so I think it's important to remember, you need to invest in your business. You have to invest in your business. And so unless you're consistently getting clients every week or every month, I don't mean just like followers, I mean leads and clients every month, you should level up your video. You should really use it because it is the most effective tool. And so let's say you spend some money now to take a course, then you use that information for the next several years. So number one, you get it back with your first transaction. But then secondly, that's information that you're using for the next years. And I get so sad when I see an agent, they come to me a year later and they're like, I'm ready. I've been trying it on my own for a year and I don't know how to do this. I'm like, that's okay. I don't know how to sell homes, right? That's why I'm a marketer. I'm a video marketer and you're a real estate agent. But it is really important to say, I need to invest in my business, because if you're not investing in your business, you're not growing your business. You have to. And so, I on my own, I spend money on marketing. Even though I'm a marketer, I still also spend money on marketing. So I think it's very, very important to realize that once you actually understand how to use it, that's when you can start getting, like Jessica and Brianne, $8 million in homes last year between two people. And that's not their whole book of business. That's just from video. So it's just important to remember it has this trickle down effect. And things that you don't also remember is the videos have a snowball effect on their own, right? You're getting leads, you're getting followers. People are seeing you as like the go-to agent, the mayor of your town. So it is the sort of thing that you get one transaction, it pays for my services times 5. But then you're also using that information for 2025, 2026, 2027. I work with, like in the fall, I trained public speaking the entire staff of Fortune magazine because I've trained thousands of people. I worked in media. I was a TV producer for many, many years. And it is super, super important to realize everyone can be better on camera. It doesn't take some special skill, but it does take special skill to teach you. But you have it in you, and everyone really does have it in you. But it is important to take it seriously. A lot of people just are like, oh, I guess I'll do social media, I guess. But it can really make a difference. Like a lot of my clients are like, they thank me. They call me and they're like, you changed my business. Like you changed my life. And it's a mindset shift though. You have to believe that it is worth it to invest. You will make your money back because you will get a client. And then you will use that information for the next years and years and years because video is only growing every single year.
Yeah, agreed. I want to share with everyone and Kim a couple of examples. Actually, the same example of a couple different people that I've had on my show. If we take the idea of creating content to its sort of extreme, I'm going to tell you what is even possible. So, and maybe 10 years ago, this wasn't a possibility, or certainly wasn't something that was widely done. It was always a possibility, but I have interviewed people who have literally cracked the code specifically around YouTube, and it doesn't really matter which network you're using, but YouTube is particularly useful for this, where they think about a chosen market area. So they think about, maybe it's a neighborhood, a suburb, a city, whatever, some specific geographic area, and they think, what do people who are moving in and out of this area, or specifically moving to the area, what do they want to know? What do they want to know about schools? What do they want to know about, the parks nearby? What neighborhoods to live in? What crime rates? Things that are really, really important to people that are considering moving. Because YouTube is the second biggest search engine next to Google. It is literally number 2. It's not Yahoo. It's not Bing. It is YouTube. So people search for, hey, I'm moving to Raleigh, North Carolina. Like, what do I need to know before I move to Raleigh? Right. So what these agents do is they just make content specifically answering those questions, because at YouTube it lives forever, right? It's there, it doesn't go away. Instagram, Facebook, it goes away. TikTok, it sort of stays there, but pretty much goes away. So they create this evergreen content that people any time of the year want to know. What's the best restaurant in this neighborhood? What's the best dry cleaner? What's the best dentist? Things like that we think, oh yeah, I guess I would search for that if I was moving to an area I wouldn't know, where the best place to, get my, my shoes repaired or whatever, anything that people want to know, or where the best roofer is, or, things like that. They will literally create content, and that is all they do. That is their full-time job as a realtor. They do not see clients. They do not even necessarily live in those markets. I've interviewed people on my show that have gone and created content for markets that they don't even live in. And they create video content, and guess what? They get referrals. People caught right in, and they go, and at the end of the video, they'll say something like, "Oh, hey, by the way, if you need a realtor in the area, like reach out to me. I know the best realtors," right? So they're not a realtor in the area, so they reach out to them, and then they get referrals. I have people that do this literally; it's their full-time job. They stopped actually showing homes. This is super common now. So again, that's probably not everyone's goal, right? I understand that. You probably wouldn't become a full-time content creator, but that's how powerful it can be, is you can literally go out of production just to create content for what people are searching for on places like YouTube. So just wanted to share that. I've done episodes. You can go back through my episodes and find people that I've interviewed that literally do that. And they do so much business without ever doing, writing a contract that you wouldn't believe. And also something to remember too, everybody who is a real estate agent, anyone who ever mentions anything about real estate anywhere in the country, that's a referral opportunity for you too. So just want to throw that out there, is even if someone's moving to Alaska and you should go, you know what? I'm going to connect you with a great realtor in Alaska. Where are you moving to? Great. I'm going to find the best person for you. I'll shoot them a message, and then now you have a referral opportunity. But Kim's going to show you how to do that kind of thing with video. And so we're going to really encourage everybody to schedule that 15-minute call with Kim. It's worth it. Trust me. I would not steer you wrong. And Kim's been with us for a long time now, and she's the very best that we've ever found. So Kim, any questions for Kim, guys? Any last questions? If so, drop them in the chat. But Kim gave a really great suggestion too that I just want to reiterate. She said, if you're thinking about content and what to write about, or sorry, what to creating a script for your content. What should I, do for a short form video in particular is questions your clients ask you. This is such a great idea because they're pretty much universal, right? So you just start thinking about, okay, my client asks about X. Okay, great. Write a little script, a 60-second script answering that question. Or that might have 5 different answers. So there you have 5 pieces of content, right? So Kim will show you how to schedule it. So she'll tell you when to put part 1 and part 2 and all that. She'll figure that out for you. But this is the kind of things you can come up with. You don't have to, come up with these elaborate sort of ideas. They're just things that people want to know that you are the expert at, right?
And one thing that I think is really important, that everything seems hard and big at first. So just remember, it's like, I'm sure when you got your license, it felt very overwhelming, right? Whether you shifted to real estate from another career or if you've been doing it for a long time, everything is hard at first. But once you learn the system, so I teach a system, ways to come up with interesting ideas. I teach you how to come up with good ideas. I teach you how to use ChatGPT to come up with good ideas faster, but to still make it feel personal. And once you understand that A, there's a way to feel confident on camera, and B, there is a system, you just need to learn the system. It takes away all the mystery. So, and also, if you look at your competitors in the neighborhood, I promise you, they're not all doing videos. There's room for you to take up that space and become the go-to agent, become the person who's seen as the mayor of your area. And that's what you need to be to really get clients. It's not just about one just listed, just sold post, but it's really about showing up and people being like, yeah, Artem, yeah, they really are like the mayor of this area. Carol, I need to work with Carol. Miranda, she's so knowledgeable. You want to be top of mind. Like I mentioned earlier, Annette was one of my clients from Video Bootcamp, and she was new, relicensed, and got 4 clients in 1 month because she was showing up with a really locked in strategy. And Video Bootcamp helped her get out of her head, which is like, oh, I look this way. Oh, I have an accent. Oh, this and that, all these negative voices. I helped her quiet those voices down because people are here for her. And honestly, she's seeing so much amazing results so quickly that that becomes feeding on itself. So it's really important to just say, of course, it's overwhelming. It's the beginning, but once you have a system and a strategy, it's just so much easier.
Yeah, and I'm going to give people just a real quick idea that you can take with you that Kim will show you as well. She talked about becoming the mayor of your chosen area, right? Real estate is hyper local. So I live in a neighborhood here in Chicago called Wicker Park. If I wanted to be the Wicker Park realtor that people thought about when they wanted to buy or sell in that area, here's what I might start doing. Yeah, we already talked about creating content about what people need to know when they move to Wicker Park. That's always content. But here's the other thing I would do. And this is really great if you don't yet have a lot of followers. So here's what you could do is pick your local chosen area and think about all of the vendors or the retail shops or the service providers in that area that you use, that you like. You probably know the best restaurants, the best dentists, the best, etc., right? You can go to those places, call them up or shoot them an email and say, hey, I'm a realtor. I service your area. I would like to promote your dental practice or your optometry practice. Like there's a guy in my neighborhood there's 2 guys who have these unbelievable eyeglass shops, and they make their own eyeglasses, and they also have these really fancy ones from all over the world. But if you don't know they exist, you wouldn't probably know about it. It's a kind of a word of mouth thing, but they are cool. Kim lives in Brooklyn. She's got lots of stuff like this. We've got a couple of these things. I would go to those guys who, by the way, are small business owners and want publicity and say, you design your own glasses. Like, I got to talk to you about that because I want people to know about your shop because I live in this area or I support this area. I sell homes in this area. I want you to thrive. Can I just come in and interview you for a minute or two? And you bring your phone or bring somebody to hold the phone for you. And you just say, hey, tell me about your business. Like, how'd you get started? Tell me about your eyeglasses, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to post content, but you're going to tell that person, I'm going to, obviously tag you, and please send that out as well to your followers. And you could do this all day long, guys. And all of a sudden now you, as Kim says, you are seen as kind of the person that knows a lot of the people in the area. You're supporting local businesses as well, and you're doing it for free. It doesn't cost the person anything. Small business owners get called every day by different media companies saying, buy this advertising. This, you're doing the same thing, but you're doing it for free, and you're setting up a reciprocal sort of situation. You're going to make that person's day. They're going to love that you're doing that for them, and it's going to help them out. It's going to help you out. So just a quick little tip there. I've interviewed tons of people on my show that do exactly that. We can all do it. It's just go in there, say, can I interview you for a few minutes? Ask them how they started the business, why they started it, and maybe even offer a little coupon. Maybe say, hey, should we come up with a little coupon for 5% off, restaurant, appetizer or something? You guys can figure all that out. But that's fun. That stuff is fun. So sorry, Kim, didn't mean to take over there, but I love the idea of become mayor, and Kim will show you exactly how to do these things and how to systematize it, how to actually film it, how to structure it. So the idea is now implanted. Schedule that 15-minute call with her. I promise it will be worth your time. And yeah, I just think Kim is absolutely fantastic. You can go to her website. You can see all the awards she's won and her background we already talked about. So I want everybody to go to kimrittberg.com/RE tips. That's a great resource for you. Also want you to subscribe to her podcast, which is called The Exit Interview. So we will have link to that. We will send that out to you as well. Kim is also on our show every month. She comes on and gives you tips like these today. So please reach out, sign up for her boot camp. It'll be the best money you've spent this year on marketing. I promise, because it will literally generate money for you. I promise it will. And want everybody to do better with social media video this year. So, all right, Kim, thank you so much, guys. We're going to take a 10-minute break and then stay tuned because our last presentation is an amazing real estate coach for the locker room. Her name is Mary Lou Dingman. She is going to talk all about open houses. We heard Amy Duong Kim at the beginning say open houses are essential. She does open houses for every single listing she gets. She does 2, if not 4, for every single listing. Why does she do that? Because they don't work? No, they do work, but you need to know what to do to make them work. Mary Lou is going to share that with you. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be right back, guys. Go refresh, and I'll see you in a moment. Hi, Mary Lou.
Hi, how are you?
Good, 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 good. Everyone who is watching, and just give us a couple minutes. We're about to get started. We'll let everyone come on back, finish up their emails or bathroom break. So give us just a few minutes, and we will get started. While we're waiting, I encourage everyone, if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, to please do so. Just pull up a podcast app, search for Keeping It Real, and you know what? I'll actually put something in the chat. I'll put my link tree in there. You can actually just click on that and do that as well. I would appreciate it. And also tell a friend. We really appreciate you letting other agents know about our show. And we are one of the largest ones in the industry, if not the largest. So we're very grateful to you for sharing that with other agents on our behalf. That really helps us out. So I'm going to put this in the chat, and I think it's the right link. And if not, I'll put the right. Well, you know what? I'm going to test it real quick because I don't always know my links. And we'll get started here in just a minute. It's the right link. Okay, cool. So here it is in the chat. You guys can subscribe to my show through lots of different methods via that link. So I want to share with you guys a story before I bring on Mary Lou about the company Mary Lou works with, which is called The Locker Room. So we got very lucky here in Chicago. So a couple of years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, The Locker Room is, by the way, if you don't know The Locker Room, they are a coaching company for realtors, for brokerages. They work all over the country. They are amazing. And they came to us with a really interesting proposition. They go, we don't really want to hire a sales team and have to sell our services all over the country to all these different agents. It's just a lot of work and just not really what we want to do. We want to focus on really just one brokerage per market. And we thought that's a pretty smart idea, And so we got really fortunate and said, well, let's take a look at their content. Let's see how good it is, because we weren't that familiar with it. And we started looking into their courses. And oh my God, we were so blown away that we were like, we want to be the exclusive provider, because we didn't want anyone else getting access to it. So we got really, really lucky, and we are now the exclusive provider of The Locker Room for the Chicagoland area. We're so grateful to The Locker Room. They have over, no kidding, 40 different training programs. They are so insanely good. They do live events. They do on-demand events. They have stuff like almost every day of the year. They even do in-person events too. In fact, one of our managing broker is heading to an in-person event they're doing right now. So they are just incredible. They also have this really cool online community too. So The Locker Room is just amazing. So if you're not familiar with them, I'm going to share with you some links on joinkale.com. That's our recruiting site. You can actually links directly to The Locker Room, and you can see sort of more of what they're about. You can actually check out some of their courses, and gosh, they are the real deal. And so we're just so lucky to have them. So today we have Mary Lou Dingman from The Locker Room on our podcast here to talk about open houses. But let me tell you more about Mary Lou, because she is amazing, and she has an amazing reputation. So she's a 22-year veteran of real estate. She has worn many industry hats as an on-site agent, a buyer specialist, and a solo agent. And in 2017, her passion shifted to coaching, training, and teaching. She's been a coach with The Locker Room since launching her coaching career, has not looked back since. Her clients are the leaders of brokerages. The people she coaches are names that you know in your market. She is that big of a deal. And the agents that her agents serve. She's an approved instructor for the North Carolina Real Estate Commission, and has written her own 4-hour CE elective course on the DISC personality assessment, which is really awesome. Great way to categorize and understand your client's behavior behavior and sort of motivations. Mary Lou still works with buyers and sellers on a referral basis and past client basis, but she is really a full-time coach. She considers herself a real estate sponge and loves any and everything with the real estate industry. Mary Lou, welcome to for the first time on Keeping It Real.
I know. I am so glad to be here. I could not be more excited. And I went to the dentist this morning and my mouth was numb. And I was like, holy cow, that was probably not a good idea for me to go to the dentist on the same day. But my mouth is back to normal now. Thank goodness.
I've actually done an episode. I had to get a Novocaine shot for a cavity. It's funny, I've only ever had one cavity, but I had to get it refilled recently, and it was the same day as a podcast episode, and so I got through it. But you certainly probably wasn't my best sounding voice day, but you sound great. So yeah, welcome.
I'm good, thank you. And I came from a radio background, so I used to be a DJ. So I did radio and real estate, two of the coolest professions. And my two passions in real estate are literally the disc and open houses. So I'm really so grateful that I can share about open houses here today.
Awesome. I am going to pull up a presentation that Mary Lou is. Do you want me to pull it up, Mary Lou, or would you like to pull it up?
You are more than welcome to pull it up.
Okay, I'm going to pull it up, and give me just a second, everyone. We're going to get that rolling, and I'm going to be the...
Yes, that's perfect.
Hang on just a second. I'm going to make it a little bigger.
Yep.
There we go. All right. I'm going to turn it over to Mary Lou.
One thing before I get going. So do I need to tell you when to switch screens or?
Yeah, just let me know.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay. So I'm here to talk about the top 10 agent open house mistakes. Let me give y'all just a little bit of background. And yes, I say y'all because I'm from North Carolina. I started out in new home sales. So I got really comfortable with people walking into my sales center and really navigating and guiding that conversation. And so when I transitioned to become a buyer specialist doing open houses, it became very natural. And I saw that I did open houses very differently than a lot of agents did. And it's one of my top 10 agent open house mistakes. It's number 4. So when I get to number 4, I'm probably going to get really passionate about it. All right. So we're going to get into the top 10 agent open house mistakes. And number 1 is, and you can go ahead and flip the screen now. It is not actively lead generating for open houses. Listen, you don't have to have listings in order to do open houses. You may be in a small brokerage. You may be in a great, amazing brokerage like Kale, where there are listings all over the place. And you want to be very selective about it. You don't want to just throw out on your social media page, hey, does anybody have any open houses I can do? Find the awesome listings, find the agents that have the open houses in the areas where you want to do it, and set up a search to come back to you, right? Set that search up so that it comes to you. And before you know it, you'll have agents reaching out to you and saying, hey, I have this house coming on. Do you want to do the open house? So I just want you to think about the fact that you can lead generate for your open houses within your brokerage. And
Mary Lou, I want to pop in for just a second because this is such an important thing, especially if you're a newer agent. And as Mary Lou said, maybe you don't have listings to do open houses. You want to set up searches in your MLS system for your brokerage, for the areas that you service, as she said, and you want to get notified when those listings go live. You also want to develop relationships with those agents and say, I want to help you try to sell this property. I would love to do an open house for you. Can I do that? May I, now you might have to ask a few times, right? It's something I will tell you, I interview the top 1% of agents all over the country. They are so flattered and excited when somebody in their office says, I want to do an open house for one of your listings. I know it seems like it seems like that might be a tough thing to ask. It isn't. I promise you. And talk to your managing broker, say, hey, is there anyone that has listings that I could help with? Guys, I've never met a top 1% producer that doesn't do open houses. I just haven't met them.
Amen. It's true. It is true. We have an amazing agent in our market, and to this day, I mean, she's a multi-million dollar, high volume, and she still gets out there and does open houses. I love it, and I love seeing her do it. All right. Number 2 is not incorporating virtual open houses. Y'all, that's the beautiful thing about doing virtual open houses along with your in-person. Or, you can do that. Or what if the home goes under contract, right? If it goes under contract, you already have that exposure because you've done a virtual open house. What you're looking for is eyeballs and presence. You want that presence. You want to be known as someone who does open houses and gets that open house out to as many people as possible. You can do standalone virtual open houses. I remember I had an agent in coaching, and it was right around the Christmas holidays, and I challenged her. She was so much fun to coach because she was always up for a challenge. And I challenged her to do 3 virtual open houses, like, that week or 2 weeks in between Christmas and New Year's, when everybody's like, you don't even know what day it is. And so she scheduled 3 virtual open houses. She had so many views on that. She actually picked up, I believe, 2 or 3 buyer clients and a couple of sellers just from doing those virtual open houses. And you can run the same play on a virtual open house as you do at an in-person open house. And I'm going to share my calendar with y'all, and your mind is going to be blown. So you can also do them in vacant homes. Make that vacant home your office for the week. Use your hotspot, go work, pick up traffic. Yeah, just make sure that you are using every opportunity to get as many eyeballs as possible. All right, number 3. Not stepping up your game. Listen, I've done it, coming in hot on 2 wheels, right? But make sure that that open house is visible. Make sure you're posting it on social media. You're inviting your sphere of influence. You're inviting former open house visitors, right? You want to invite a minimum of 25 neighbors to the open house, right? For a sneak peek. I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. But you're lead generating for listings when you do that. And when you do invite the neighbors, they're going to be like, wow, this is what this agent does to sell homes. So when I'm ready to list, I'm going to list with that agent, whether you were the listing agent on that property or not, but you were the one that was out knocking on their door, right? So use all those opportunities. And, pinwheels are great to use instead of, going and blowing up balloons, but make sure you're following your sign ordinances in whatever your municipality is. Typically, I will door knock at the same time I'm putting my signs out. So I'll usually do those 2 things together. All right.
The door knocking is great for a couple of reasons. First, it lets people know, hey, I'm going to be here on this day and time. There's going to be probably a lot of traffic here in the neighborhood. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. But what I'm here to do is to try to sell so-and-so's home and really help raise the property value of everyone here in the neighborhood by getting the highest price possible. So we're going to try to create an event here. And by the way, please come by. We'd love to see you. When people are nosy, they like to see what their neighbors' homes look like. So it's a great way to generate additional traffic and also say, hey, by the way, I can run a CMA for your property. If you want to see what your home's worth, I could do that for you too.
So brilliant, and such a great approach, and such a great script, and a best practice to put into place when you're talking about open houses. So here it is, y'all. So before you go to this slide, I'm going to tell y'all my mantra in life and in real estate, especially in real estate. There are people that I am meant to help, and all I have to do is my part to find them. And what I found is that I found a lot of them at open houses. So number 4, this is what makes me very different than most agents. Oh, there's my open house calendar right there. It'll show up again, but I'll get back to it. Go one more slide if you would, DJ. There you go. Perfect. Not asking for the appointment at the open house. What I hear all the time is, and listen, y'all, the more people that come into the open house, that's what you want. You want all those eyeballs, but you're chasing people as soon as they walk out the door, right? You are chasing them to set an appointment. Why not ask for the appointment right when they're there? Go ahead and ask them for an appointment. This is my script. I'm going to tell y'all my script right now. When they come in, hey, my name is Mary Lou Dingman with MLD Real Estate. This is not my listing. I am holding this open on behalf of a colleague. I find a lot of clients that I'm meant to help when I do open houses. I'm going to let you go ooh and ah right now. Go look through the home. Meet me back in the kitchen. I want to hear your feedback about this home, and we will set up an appointment to see if we're a good fit to work together. I told them I was going to be asking them for an appointment. So that ask is so much easier when they come into the kitchen and I get their feedback about the open house. And I say, hey, let's sit down and see if we're a good fit to work together. Now, you may have some scripts that you need to have. If they say, well, my cousin's an agent, I'm going to use my cousin, or, oh, we're not ready for 9 months. And I have those scripts and I wrote them myself. But look, all you're doing is you're sitting down to see if you're a good fit to work together. And really, if you get one appointment at every open house you do, and you do open house, and you get one appointment and you do 4 open houses a month, and you do it 10 months out of the year, you've now got 40 appointments. And if your conversion ratio is strong, you could build your entire business around doing open houses just by asking. When somebody is face to face with you, it's so much easier to ask for the appointment. And you will be surprised how many people will say yes. And I'm going back to the disc thing. I have had so many agents come up to me that are a softer personality type. I mean, I know I'm pretty outgoing and I've got a lot of energy. But agents that have that S personality type, they are the people type, but more of the introverted people type. I love it when they come up to me and they say, Mary Lou, I asked for 3 appointments and I got them. They said they'd love to meet with me. And I'm like, of course, ask and you will receive. And if they say no, doesn't mean that they won't come back and that you can't get them for an appointment later. But while you have that opportunity and they're right in front of you, go ahead, do me a favor, prove me wrong. When you do an open house, next open house you do, ask for an appointment. And I would not be surprised if you set an appointment just from that. And as I said, you're making the ask easier if you tell them before they even go tour, hey, when you meet me back in the kitchen, we're going to talk about an appointment time. And by the way, do I have my calendar blocked with appointment slots just from the open houses? You're doggone right I do. So then there's no fiddle around on your calendar going, let's see, I can fit you in here. See, I told you this is when I start getting fired up, when I start talking about this. And you want to ask those questions to dig deeper, right? And my new home sales experience helped me with a lot of this, but you are guiding the conversation and you are navigating it. You are giving them, making them comfortable, learning more about them, and then just saying, hey, let's be curious. Let's sit down and see if we're a good fit. So there you go. That if you take anything away from this, that's what I want you to walk away with. All right. We could get, yep, there you go. Not practicing scripts. I told you, you're going to get some objections. There will be some things that happen. They'll say things like, we just started looking, or we're just getting an idea of what's out there. And listen, the more you practice scripts, the more of an active listener you are. It makes you a better listener if you are not thinking about what you're going to say, that you have it so embedded in your brain. No different than Tom Hanks winning Academy Awards and Meryl Streep for internalizing scripts and then making it their own because it's so deeply embedded in their brain. But I have scripts for all of these things here. You know, we're not ready yet. Well, in a perfect world, tell me, when will you be ready? Right? It's asking the questions. We're not moving until next year. Great. Tell me what's going to be different next year. But you know what I do? I'm still going to ask them for an appointment, even if they say they're a year out. And I say, listen, when you go on vacation, a lot of times you're looking up flights, you're looking at your hotel, you're trying to figure out what activities you want to do. Buying a home or selling a home is a huge, major financial investment. Let's go ahead and meet now. When you are ready, we'll have all those pieces in place.
I want to give the audience a quick little tip. One of the interviews I've had with a top producer, they get this is a funny one that they do at open houses, and you have to sort of get it down, but it works really, really well. So any of those objections that you're seeing on the screen there, we just started looking, we're not ready yet, we're not moving until next year, we're just getting an idea of what's out there. This person does the same response every single time, and he says it works wonders. And he pauses and he looks up to the sky and he goes, huh? And he goes, you know, and he says, you know, and then he stops himself in the middle of, you know, he goes, I have a few ideas for you. I want to go back to the office. I have to check something, but I have a couple of ideas. Let's schedule just a few minutes. I want to go over these with you in the next couple of days. And he says, and then they go, well, what are the ideas? He's like, yeah, I want to double check something, but I have a couple ideas for you. So people, of course, are going to be so naturally curious. You are going to get that appointment. So something to think about. I just thought that was a cute way of handling an objection.
Well, you just saw my mouth hang. I'm like, what's the idea? I got to know. Yeah, it's so true. And, you know, and do practice affirmations. Look, I don't care, y'all. If you think affirmations are cheesy, they're not. Because before I do an open house, I say, there are people that I am meant to help. I come from value. I am powerful in person. People need me before they even know it. Do you think that I could be standing here talking as passionately about open houses if I didn't believe those things? So affirmations are not cheesy, and scripts are not either. They are powerful, and they will help you be the agent that you were created to be. All right. Ooh, I'm all fired up now. All right. Yes. All right. Not arriving at least 30 minutes early, y'all. Come on. I mean, I said earlier, I've done it. I've been coming on hot, 2 wheels, you know, rolling in, but give yourself minimum 30 minutes. You should be there early. And I haven't even talked about the neighborhood sneak peek yet. That's what you do when you're knocking on the neighbors' doors and you take them a flyer and you say, hey, I'm holding the open house tomorrow. You know, there may be more traffic. You know, I'm holding it from 12 to 3. I am holding an exclusive neighborhood sneak peek from 11:30 to 12. And, you know, I'm counting on you being there. And I really want to hear what you love about the neighborhood. So if you're doing a neighborhood sneak peek, then you need to be there at 11, because then you do the sneak peek at 11:30, and then you're ready for the open house at 12. I like doing the owners in the neighborhood, giving them that separate time so that when you do have traffic coming in, you can concentrate on the people that are coming through the door. Also, the only things I leave on the countertops are sign-in sheets on clipboards, or a sign-in app if you want to use a QR code. Open house notebook. I have a notebook, and you know, with the sheet protectors, with everything in, and you know, lights on, music playing. Newsflash, I don't leave flyers and stuff laying around that they could just pick up, because once they stick their nose in that flyer, they don't have to engage with you at all. So I will give them information, but once again, I am guiding them through that open house so that I have an opportunity to hear more about what they need and what they're looking for, and to set an appointment. I put anything, if it's not my listing, I put all the materials from the listing agent just for that open house. I tuck them in a drawer. I will take the lockbox off the door so that they feel more comfortable. If you've ever done an open house and people ring the doorbell, why do they do that? Because they feel like they're coming into somebody's house and they're not comfortable. Well, make it comfortable. That's the way we like to do things here in North Carolina. It's like, come on, y'all, everybody come on in. So just make sure you're there early enough to set the stage. Okay.
I love the idea, Mary Lou, of doing the owners ahead of time, because you probably get a lot of good information about the neighborhood, and just kind of, and you could also say, hey, I'm going to be kind of partly responsible for the next person that buys this place. So I'd love to hear from from you guys, like, what are you looking for in a neighbor? What's special about this property? You could just engage with them and try to develop a rapport with them as well.
I mean, I know you were talking about, becoming the mayor of your town. Well, this can make you a mayor of a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And if you do an open house in a neighborhood, I mean, and you like that neighborhood, you like the vibe, you might be like, I'm going to start farming this neighborhood. And it makes it a lot easier for you to do that if you've had some rapport with those neighbors already, because they came to the sneak peek that you did for the open house. So, so that's number 6. All right. And here comes number 7. I know it's tough in this market because, by the way, I want to show you that picture that you see, that was me at an actual open house that I did. And I sit on the front porch at the open house. That's where I start my rapport building. So I have my green little camping chair there. I had a cooler right beside me with water. I have water bottles. And, I'm sitting there greeting them when they're getting out of their car. I'm sitting on the front porch. Now, I know that it can be really hot and really cold. If it's really bad, then I would normally be inside where that, if there's an office, a front office. But then when I see a car pull up, I'm going to go open up the door, right? And another thing, if you know that an open house is going to be really busy in a high traffic area, bring a lender with you, team up with another agent, right? So that you do have an opportunity to at least build some rapport with some people and ask for appointments. Now, you want to preview listings in the neighborhood. And I know there's, I think it's kind of pockety where there is inventory and where there's not. In the very least, go to some new construction neighborhoods, or call, if there are any homes that are under contract, call the listing agent and say, hey, listen, I'm doing an open house and I know your listing is right around the corner. Do you think the sellers would be okay if I just come through and do a quick preview? Because you really want to get a feel for what you're seeing in that general area, right? And if you're not familiar with it, drive around, see where the closest grocery store is, if there are any new restaurants that have popped up. But know a little bit about the area, because I tell you, there's nothing more embarrassing when you're doing an open house, when the people that are coming to visit the open houses know more about the neighborhood than you do if they don't live there. And by the way, all these mistakes that I'm talking about that was me failing forward. That's why I created these and said, I've got to do my business differently. And so all these things I learned from, and market knowledge is power, right? And here's the thing, if you do an open house right, and it's a dud, and you only have 2 people that come through, it was a waste of time. They both had agents. Well, you know what? If you did your door knocking, if you invited the neighbors, if you did the neighborhood sneak peek, if you did some virtual open houses, and if you got that visibility online, there's always value in doing an open house. So, all right. So now we're at number 9, or no, I'm sorry, number 8, not following up with open house visitors. So this is really, really important. So the next slide, but don't go to it yet, DJ, but just in a second. So the next slide, I give you my open house system. It is a lather, rinse, repeat. So just so you know, I don't set up anybody on a search unless I've met them belly to belly and I've done a consultation with them or a listing presentation. And because I'm shooting for the appointment, because seriously, can we really set up a search for somebody because they walked in and they said, we want 3 bedrooms and 2 baths? Is that enough information? No. And I think about the people that became buyers that I worked with or sellers who I met at an open house who probably had 5 searches set up by other agents who set them up on searches, but I was the one that asked them for the appointment at the open house and they became my clients. I hope that makes sense. It's, just make sure, because you want to come from value. And I don't set up. And if they, say, well, hey, just set me up on a search, I say, there's a lot more involved than how many bedrooms and how many baths. I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't hear more about what you need. So let's set up a time to meet, because I want to hear more about exactly what you're looking for. How about tomorrow at 12 or Wednesday at 5, right? And you're going to keep calling your open house visitors until you get an appointment. Now, the ones I don't get an appointment for, I'm going to set them up on drips, but that's just me, not with home searches. So I'm not going to send them searches, but I will keep them up to date. Okay. If you don't mind going to the next slide, thank you. And I know this isn't really big, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. Monday is on the far left in case you can't see it. And then you see Saturday and Sunday. Y'all, everything in green is a lead generation activity for open houses. And so if you look on Saturday and Sunday, I've got the big green boxes. I like doing 3-hour open houses because I'm like, if I'm going to work this hard during the week doing open houses, I'm going to milk it for all the time. And so typically I would do 12 to 3 or 4 to 7 in the summer. Y'all would not believe how many people I picked up between 6 and 7 o'clock. Because guess what? All the new home neighborhoods close their offices at 6. So they would see my signs and they'd say, oh, look, there's an open house. We'll go in there. So you do your open houses. They're the big green boxes, right? Then you sit down Sunday night, you write your thank you notes, you catch up on your shows, and you put everybody in your database. Monday morning, you go ahead and call everybody, even if you just get a voicemail. Hey, it's Mary Lee Dingman from MLD Real Estate. We met at the open house yesterday. We did not set up an appointment, but I'm going to keep in touch with you. I know you said your timeline was out, and I'll keep you posted for any other open houses I do in the future, right? Put your thank you notes in the mail. See those dark green boxes on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? Those are my prearranged slots for open houses. So then on Thursday morning, I'm going to look through the seller records. If I have a circle prospecting tool, I'm going to try to get in touch with the neighbors and start inviting them to the open house coming up for that following weekend, right? Friday morning, I'm calling everybody that has come through one of my open houses that has not set an appointment. Hey, it's Mary Lou Dingman with MLD Real Estate. I met you 2 weeks ago at 123 Main Street. Guess what? I've got another open house at 456 Park Avenue. I'm going to send you a link so you know where to find me. I would love to see you again this weekend. What if the house doesn't even match what they're looking for? I've made a touch with them. I have a reason that I've called them. So then either Friday afternoon or Saturday morning, I am putting out my signs and door knocking. You can do it either or. And then y'all, I'm making fun of us, but I even put time in there for you to eat lunch, right? Because we as agents were saying, I don't have time to eat. I built in lunchtime. So you've got time to eat lunch. And then you see that 30-minute sneak peek on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and then going straight into the open house. And then it is a cycle. It's lather, rinse, repeat. This is your open house system. So every Friday you are calling anybody. So of course that list could really grow. Tell me, are they going to remember you if they're hearing from you once a week? If they get a card from you in the mail, because they'll probably get the card by Wednesday if you put it in Monday morning's mail, and you're still sending them, any market updates or anything like that you have in your CRM. Okay.
I'd like to pause for a second and mention, Mary Lou, you have two specific tasks here that I think, I'm guessing 99% of agents, open houses do not do. Number one, the handwritten thank you. Guys, people do not get handwritten thank yous anymore. It is not a thing. So when you send one to somebody or when you receive one, think of how good that feels. We get, on average, the average human, it's probably less than this now, but 5 years ago, the average person in this country receives one handwritten note a year. So it's probably less than that now. So just even doing that is going to separate you from probably all the other agents in your area. But then the other thing she mentioned, which I've not heard anybody say, is calling the person that you met at the previous one to invite them to the next one. How brilliant is that? Now, obviously, if it's not going to meet their needs, you're not going to invite them, or maybe you could say, hey, I've got this other one. It's not going to be a perfect fit for you guys, but if you know anyone that might be a fit for, I'm going to send you a link. Please pass it along. But just calling and inviting somebody every week to an open house, that's a brilliant idea, because it's going to keep you in front of, and no one else is doing that.
And, let me tell you, DJ, what's so funny is because I blast open houses so much, my friends, my sphere that I haven't seen in a couple of years, if I am doing an open house in their area, they'll come see me. Guess what? I've now made a reconnection with somebody in my sphere of influence. That's a touch. That's a contact. And of course, I'm going to ask them, hey, what questions do you have for me? What do you need to know about real estate? Is there anybody in your world that I can help with real estate? There's just so many good opportunities, so much goodness to spread all over the place. All right. So now we are almost there. So not inviting neighbors to the open house. So I've talked about that quite a bit. You're building your database by inviting neighbors. You are lead generating for listings, y'all, when you do that. And block your calendar to Circle Prospect. If you don't have a Circle Prospecting tool or phone numbers, why not go into the tax records, look up the sellers, send them a connection request through social media. What's the worst that can happen? They don't accept it. You know what? Then if they do, then you can create an event. You can create, like on Facebook, you can do an event for doing a sneak peek. You can send out invitations to them. So just make sure that you are maximizing the fact that you can lead generate for listings by doing that open house, and make sure you do that sneak peek. All right. Number 10, it's all about sellers. That's pretty much what I'm preaching here towards the end. Is number 10 is not seeing open houses as a way to attract sellers. So if you want to go ahead and flip the slide, DJ, that'll be the last one that I've got. Whoop, not that one. Go back one more. Sorry. Make sure that you are that you are building your database, that you can ask for the listing appointment at the open house. Find out how long have they been in the neighborhood? You know, show your value when you door knock. As we talked about earlier, doing CMAs, doing a market analysis for that neighborhood. You've got all of that at your fingertips. So this is the end of my presentation, but I mean, I'm a coach, DJ. So can we go to the next slide? This is a coaching moment that I want to make sure that everybody does. So what I want, and I know you're familiar with the KISS because we do this in the locker room. So with everything that you just heard, I hope that it was of value. And you could also do this for the two earlier presenters. I want you to write down, what are you going to keep doing? What are you going to be more intentional about regarding open houses? What are you going to stop doing? What's not working in your favor? And what are you going to start doing? If you come up with that plan, give it a little bit of thought after we're done with all of this, and just implement it for the next 30 to 60 to 90 days, I promise you, you will see a change in your open houses. So that's what I've got for all of this. So what y'all got for me? That's what I need to know.
Well, I would like to ask you how you recommend an agent who is newer approaches an agent who has a listing in their office to ask for open houses. What are some do's and don'ts?
Okay, I like that question. I will tell you this. If you are in a brokerage that has training for you and that offers you that, plug in and do it, okay? Because when they see that you're hungry, they're going to be more likely to do that. I personally would do it. If you want to build a good relationship, I would try being face-to-face, I think, or voice notes. You know, voice notes are pretty cool now. You can leave a voice note on the phone. It's just a step above a text. But I would just say, hey, I just got some amazing open house training on a podcast. I am soaking in all the knowledge that I can. And I see that you have this listing, and I would love to do an open house at that listing. A lot of bigger agents, they may have some criteria that they want you to meet. They have standards of what they expect for you to do. And if they have standards, make sure that you follow those standards, because they have a way that they want their listings marketed. But you know what, y'all, it's no different than asking for an appointment at the open house. We are in the business of, if we don't ask for it, we won't get it. So just know that you are going through the training, you are soaking up all the knowledge, and not only do you want to help buyers and sellers, but you're in business with that agent in your office, and you can create such a great win-win. So I would just be very transparent and say, listen, I'm soaking in the knowledge. I would love to hold an open house for you.
And I would also suggest, that's great advice. I would also suggest to have a written down plan so that you can share that with the agent to say, I just want you to know, here's what I plan to do for your listing. I have 10 things I'm going to do, or 15, whatever it might be. I'm going to start doing this on Wednesday. I'm going to go all the way through the week. And, you know, we're going to get the neighbors involved. We're going to, you know, and, you know, you do this and the person is going to say, wow, this person's got a plan. They know what they're doing. And yeah, sure, go ahead, you know, go nuts. Or maybe they'll do it with you. Maybe they'll they'll do an open house with you.
It could be. Absolutely. Absolutely. And y'all, I've had open houses where nobody showed up, and I've had open houses where 20 people show up. But I'll tell you this, You know, when you, and I used to wait tables. If you've ever waited tables, the busier you are, the more of a zone you get in, and you just flow, and it just becomes really natural. It's like this rhythm. And so when you're doing an open house, and you know, if you make this rapport with somebody, you say, hey, listen, I want to meet with you. You'll find yourself becoming more bold because you're navigating a lot of conversations, and you say, almost like you said, I have an idea. I have an idea. When I'm done with this open house, I'm going to call you, okay? And we'll talk about that idea. So it doesn't matter how many people you have, you can find at least one person that you can ask for an appointment.
Yeah, I think, open houses, look, they take time. They're a process. I understand that it's not as easy as posting a social media, maybe even filming a social media video might even be easier than hosting an
Yes.
open house. So we understand this takes time, but I promise you this works. I will tell you right now, I do have a license. I've never technically used my license. So for all purposes, I am not really a practicing agent. I'm just not. In fact, when I bought my last property, I had to have my boss do it for me because I was like, how do I do this? So even though I have a license and I have this podcast that's fairly popular, the reality of it is I still need help. But the reason, really, what I'm going to tell you here is this is kind of funny. So my girlfriend and I are kind of talking next steps, and we are, discussing what we want to do as far as, the rest of our lives and where we want to live and move. And just as of last week, we were talking about moving out to a suburb, a very close suburb to the city. We live in the city now, and we're thinking about, children and what we would have to do to get in an area with good schools. And we started, even though we are about 9 months away from actually purchasing a property in that area, she's like, I'm going to pull up some open houses. Let's just go and see what they are ahead of time. So let's just get familiar with the area. So people do this. This is something. And, again, I won't really need an agent because I work here, but if I didn't work here, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be going there. I wouldn't have an agent, and I would need to talk to somebody. So the only way we are going to get familiar with that area is through open houses. So I hope there's open houses in that area. It's actually going to be super helpful for me because you can get a lot of understanding through the videos and the pictures that are in the MLS listing, but I need to see the neighborhood. I need to see exactly kind of how the property is situated. And we're buying like a single family home. So this is something that's, in a condo, it's maybe a little different, but for single family homes, boy, for any type property, you really need to be there. And so I need open houses because I need to figure out what neighborhoods to live in and that. So this is something that people really, really need. So even if you're like, yeah, it's a little bit of a headache, it's a lot of work, it's like, no, you're doing a huge service to people. And by the way, you're going to get clients along the way.
And I've actually broken it down and have done some math. So with open houses, with that calendar that I had, it's probably about 21 hours of work a week. And I have done the math with a reasonable average price point. And what I figured out is it's pretty much like a part-time job. So if, you took a part-time job and the employer said, all right, so we want you to work 22 hours a week. You're going to talk to people. You're going to be in some houses. You might be doing a little driving around. And guess what? You're going to make $125,000 in gross commission income. Does that work for you?
It works for me. I think that's amazing for a part-time job.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. And again, the brilliance of it is you don't even have to have listings to do it. You can literally do this if you're day one in the business. Now, again, you're going to have to be persistent. You're going to have to earn your way into some of these agents' lives to allow you, because as Mary Lou said, a lot of them have standards. They have a reputation to uphold. So you're going to have to get to know them and say, what can I do to uphold your standards? I want to make sure that I'm representing your brand appropriately. And of course, you're going to want to do that. But people want you to do this. Most agents don't really want to do open houses. They just don't want to. It's a lot of time. It's like Mary Lou said, it's really like a part-time job, but you're taking work off their plate. It makes them look good to the seller, and also it's giving you opportunity as well. So open houses are the key. They really are. I promise you, I've interviewed hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of top 1% agents. Not one. I mean, maybe one told me they don't do open houses. I don't even remember one saying
Yep.
that, but I'll just assume there's probably one outlier. But I'm telling you, 99.99% of them do open houses, and there's a reason they do. Amy Dwan Kim, top 1%er here, does 2 to 4 open houses for every single listing, and
Yep.
she's like, the more the merrier. So
Mhm.
guys, so Mary Lou is available. I want everybody to reach out to her. We will be sending her information out. She's going to be reaching out to you as well,
Yep.
as a thank you for coming here. She's got some giveaways for you, so we're going to get her your information. She is going to get that over to you, so be on the lookout for information. She is an amazing coach. Everybody needs a coach. Every professional athlete, I've had a lot of them on my show. Guess what? They all have coaches. We all know
Yep.
that. And then we think, well, if like the most elite athletes need coaches, like I probably need a coach too. And I have a coach. I have coaches for lots of different parts of my business and personal life. It's really helpful. You can't do everything yourself. You're not supposed to do everything yourself. And coaches actually help you do better. So I really encourage you to, check out Mary Lou, check out Kim. She was the social media coach prior to this. And, we are just big fans of coaching. Coaching is the way that, the way forward. So check out Mary Lou at the tlrnation.com is the locker room. I will send you guys more information about that too. And we really appreciate everyone's time today. I hope this was useful. I am so grateful to all of our guests, Mary Lou, Kim, and Amy. Thank you so much. And our sponsor, A&N Mortgage. Thank you for helping make this happen. Couldn't have done it without you. We will be doing this again in a month. So thanks everyone out there. And, please let us know what you'd like to see on these webinars. What's a topic? Where's a challenge? Where are you getting stuck right now? This is tough market, guys. Where are you getting stuck? You're stuck. Everybody's stuck somewhere. I'm stuck. You're stuck. We all have sticking points. Where are we finding frustration? That's what we can help you get past. So I will be reaching out to each one of you individually too to find out your sticking point, and I'm going to offer you a resource, possibly a podcast episode or a handout. I'm going to get you something as a thank you for helping me with this webinar today. So in the next week, you'll hear from me as well. All right, everybody, we will see you on the next webinar and the next episode. Mary Lou, thank you. And I want everybody to
Thank you.
follow her on social. We're going to hear her information and reach out to her and schedule a coaching session. She will get you to the next level. All right. See everyone on the next webinar. Thanks, guys. Go enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.